Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. You're welcome to today's session. How we all doing? How we all doing? So good to have us all back here today. Please let me know if you can hear me clearly, if you can see me, and also let me know if you were part of the session yesterday. Yesterday I was so mind blown by some of the things that were shared in all of the sessions. All of the sessions, they were so spectacular. They were so good. Our first speaker for today is actually ready. So we won't be spending much time recapping the things we did yesterday, but I just want to point out some of the um, tweetable quotes that were shared yesterday. So I'll just read some of them. Mrs. Oluwatoyin, she told us that we need to heal in order not to bleed on our children. And I think that is such a tweetable quote. It's something that has been with me. I kept on thinking about it. We need to heal so we don't bleed on our children. And then when Mr. Miracle came, he said we have transition periods, and each transition period comes with its own challenges. And as adolescents, they make mistakes when they are not critically prepared for this transition. So it's our job as parents to prepare our children for these transitions. And then he said adolescent actually start from age 10. And I told him that I'm actually surprised. Age 10? Wow. Moving on. There's something he also said that if we really want to influence our children, we need to first accept them, or else they'll become defensive. And that was when he started talking about a sense of autonomy. We need to give our children a sense of autonomy, make them feel as if they're in control, right? Even though you know they are still the one dictating things and controlling things. So I think that was very remarkable. Moving on to Mrs. Ayo's session, she told us that the enemy doesn't always come as darkness, right? Sometimes it would come like a distraction to distract us, okay? And some of the vices we're facing this time is screen addiction, dopamine, excess of dopamine and the like. So she talks about that. And then she went on to say, what the mind constantly consumes, the soul would eventually reflect. So what we spend our time doing, as a man thinketh, so is he. What you spend your time doing, what you spend your time consuming, it will definitely reflect in your soul, in your character, and everything that pertains to you. And of course, I will never forget Dr. Isang. I will never forget Dr. Isang's session, especially when we were answering those questions using Slido. It was really, really an awesome session. A session was really, really awesome. And she told us how to manage screen time. And she even said a child younger than 16, I have no business being on the screen. And she told us how to combat addictions and so many things. I learned so many things. And I just want to know, if you're like me and you also learned a lot, I want you to drop in the comment section. I want to hear from you. Can you type out some of the things you learned, yesterday? Because today we're going to continue. We're picking it up at a very heightened momentum from where we stopped yesterday. So let me know, what did you learn yesterday? What stood out for you? What struck you yesterday that you've been thinking about it ever since? So while you're dropping your comment in the comment section, I would love to read the bio of our first speaker, Mrs. Omolade Oyeleke. So I begin. Mrs. Omolade Oyeleke is a youth and teen mentor and also a parenting coach with over 20 years experience. She believes that every young person has the potential to achieve greatness as they fulfill their God-given purpose. She's the creative director of House of Isabis Nigerian Limited and the lead mentor of Teen Mentorship Program. She's the founder of Blessing Hearts Humanitarian Foundation, a newly founded NGO that has the objective of reaching out to the vulnerable women, youth, and children. She's an ordained deaconess. She is currently the minister in charge of the Junior Church of RCCG, the Life Center, Abuja. And she's the convener of Online Teens Bible Study on YouTube. Wow. Such an impressive bio. We're not just bringing people who read about it. We're bringing people who have lived it, for so many years, for 20 years, and even more, over 20 years. I want to believe she's right here in the studio with us, and we're bringing her up very soon. But okay, awesome. You're welcome, Ma.
Thank you. Good
So
evening.
nice to have you.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Thank you very
Yeah.
much. So, without wasting much time, I'll just hand over to you so you can have the floor. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening. I hope I'm audible. I hope
Yes.
everyone can hear me. Okay, thank you. Good evening. It's good to be here. Yesterday, I had the opportunity of listening to our all the other people that spoke, and when they say some of these things, that it's either I'm doing the right thing or I need to make amends and, be a better parent. So it's good to be here. Thank you so much, Miss Temitayo. Thank you, Miss Tori Ogunkomi, for inviting me to this webinar. It's good to be here. And today I'll be talking about faith, culture, and mental health. Um, and the topic is around finding balance in raising the African child, exploring how spirituality and culture can support, not hinder, mental wellness. So that is what we'll be talking about. We're going to be looking at the role of faith and culture in raising a well-balanced African child. So the role of faith and culture in raising a well-balanced African child. So when we are saying a child is well-balanced, we are talking about physical, we are talking about mental. That's why we are actually here, the mental health, because we know that mental health is now a big deal. It's always been a big deal, but they've not put, the touch has not been on it as it is now. So it's actually a big deal. And then, of course, we are looking at a total child. We are looking at even the spiritual well-being, of an African child. And I believe that this will also be applicable to children that are not African, because these are just principles that will help any teenager thrive. Yesterday, like I said, I learned a lot from the our convener, that is Mrs. Tony Ogunkomi, when she spoke about resilience. And my summary of that is that the mental health of an adolescent is directly proportional to the resilience quotient. So if the child is resilient, then we expect or we know that the child has is not balancing mental health issue. That is how it comes across to me. And of course, I heard a lot about like I'm just trying to round up as well so that we pick it up from there. From Dr. Isang, she talked about social media. In fact, I jotted some things down. She talked about contact. She talked about contacts, she talked about content, she talked about contract risk, and then she talked about communication, the way our children communicate online. She spoke about cyberbullying too. The second speaker, Mr. Miracle too, talked about the change in the face of adolescents, and how we need to, I know there was he made a statement, say yes, you need to respect your adolescents, you need to treat them with respect. Until we had the final speaker yesterday, and she did justice. So I'll be talking about faith, and I'll be taking this talk from a personal point of view, how faith, especially faith, has helped me as a teenager, and how it has helped me even to mentor hundreds and hundreds of teenagers. Or we know what faith is. We know faith has to do with conviction. It has to do with conviction, spiritual conviction. Like I will always tell parents, you cannot force conviction on a child. Remember, we are talking about teenagers now. We are talking about adolescents now. So they've passed through some childhood milestone, and that is where we are supposed to actually start this journey of faith with our children, with our adolescents. We start when they are children, but now they are adolescents. Doesn't mean that we can't do anything, no. But let us just take it from childhood. So their faith is their set of rules under some form of spiritual convictions. So when I mentor adolescents or teenagers, there's no way I will not talk about my faith, because when we talk about self-awareness, when we talk about self-awareness, we talk about the strengths, the weaknesses, we talk about the value system of a teenager, and we talk about their belief system. God has created, don't let me start with God. We are created in such a way that every aspect of our lives has to be filled. If a part of that our life is not filled, what happens is that there's a vacuum, and that vacuum affects every other part. So I said there's strengths, weaknesses, value system, and belief system. That's what you need to know about yourself. So this belief system is where faith comes in. Every adolescent must know what do they believe in. And when we talk about what they believe in, we are talking about their connection with a supreme being. Like I said earlier on, I'm a Christian, and I mentor a lot of teenagers and adolescents. And the first area where this mentorship starts is always on their faith level. Now, let me tell you a story on how my faith, or how my connection with my belief system helped me as an adolescent, as a teenager, and has helped me even to be a well-balanced adult. So at age 13, I had a very bad experience. There was a major loss in my life, age 12, 13, when I lost my dad. And at that time, as a teenager, I didn't know what I was feeling. All my emotions, they were just all over the place. I didn't know I was angry. I was sad. It's now I could put a name on all that I felt as a teenager, but I was just scattered all over the place. Sometimes I'll be so aggressive, and I had a whole lot that nobody seemed to understand. But something happened to me at that age 13. I had a connection with God on a deeper level. And that is, I had a relationship with God through Christ. And as soon as that happened to me, it started shaping who I was more expressive. I was more expressive of my pain. And in that circle of my faith, a lot of things started happening. So let us look at what faith does. We have said faith is a connection to a religious sect, or a connection or spirituality between man and God. That is faith, when you have a connection to God. So I had that connection as a teenager from age 13 with God through Christ. So I'm a Christian, not because my parents were Christians, not because my mom goes to church, but because I had an encounter with God. And that encounter was not just it was not funny, and it was not taken lightly. It was not taken lightly at all, because something actually pushed me to this connection. It was a longing inside of me. There was so much of grief. There was so much of scattered emotions. Nobody seemed to understand me. There was pain, a whole lot of pain. And there was the growing into teenage will I call it teenagehood, into that teenage space, with a lot of questions and with a loss. And I just didn't know how to do it, till I found a way to connect with God. And it was so real. Nobody pushed me. And I will tell you some of what that decision did to me. And that is just my message to a lot of adolescents and a lot of teenagers. Of course, we learned yesterday that is from age 10 these days, because the amount of knowledge available is so much. So let's say from age 10 to age 24, I think that this program is actually for parents of people within that age bracket, and even teenagers in that age bracket, or adolescents. Okay, so when we talk about faith, we have said is a deeper connection, is a spiritual conviction. You cannot force faith on a teenager. You cannot force faith on an adolescent. Please, if I keep saying teenager, I also mean adolescent. I work a lot with teenagers. That is why that's like the first thing that comes to my mouth or my mind. So teenagers need to have they need to have their own belief system. They need to have a belief system that is part of their self-awareness. They need to have a connection to a supreme being, to a connection to God, because it's not going to be easier as they go down the journey. And a lot of parents don't they don't understand what teenagers go through. I'm sure you will tell me that, oh, but we've been teenagers before. How will you say we don't understand? The time has changed. Ms. Twins also said that yesterday. The time has changed. What are the things that were challenging to us during our own time? They are no longer whatever it is that they are going through right now is like times 10, because there's explosion of knowledge. And most of the time, they don't have wisdom to know how to use that knowledge. So they are bombarded with a whole lot of knowledge. There's nothing they need to know that they cannot search. They will search, they will get the knowledge, but sometimes they don't know how best to even use this knowledge. The wisdom is not there. So whatever it is they are going through right now is much more. There's a lot of exposure. There's a lot of forces fighting against even the adolescents. There are physical ones, there are spiritual ones, if you want to say that. There are mental what will I call it now? There are mental issues battling with them. We talked about peer pressure. There are so many things I want to tell you today that teenagers are battling that you don't even have an idea of. I've worked with them, most of them. When they finish talking to me, the best I tell them is to tell them, you have to let your parents know. I will not be the one to tell your parents. We have to build a relationship so that you tell your parents. They go through a lot of forces. Thank you. A lot of forces, physical, spiritual, mental, emotional, and there is a boost of knowledge, and they don't know what to do with it. But thank God for faith. Thank God for culture. Thank God for faith. Thank God for culture. Because if you have prepped them in your own little way, and they get to a point of having a connection with God, it helps them. The first thing that happens is that they become a member of a community. That is what faith does. You become a member of a community. Now, if you remember that I said that faith is cannot be you cannot force it down. So if they've had this connection with God on a deeper level, they become a member of a community. If they don't have that connection, and if it's always been forced down, we do this. These days you cannot push your adolescent to say we do this because it is right. They will ask you, why is it right? They want that experimental knowledge. Why are you saying this is why should I pray? And we are going to see how, even now that they are teenagers, let's assume you've not been serious about faith till now, and now they are adolescents. How can you pick it up? How can it be better? But let's go back here. I said, number one, they become a member of a community. A community of people having the same belief. That is the first thing that happens with faith. When they have that connection, they are not alone. There are other people in that community. And what does community do? Number one, there is support. By God's grace, I have two children now in the higher institution. The first thing I tell them is, now that you are in the higher institution, you have to join a faith-based community. I'm not pushing you. I'm not compelling you. But if you say indeed you have an encounter with God, you have a connection with God, you have to be in that community. And the first thing the community is that they give support. Community gives support, and in that community as well, there is connection with other people. So there's support, there's shared support, there is connection with others. So you're in a community. That is what faith does. That is why we say, okay, look for a fellowship in school, join them. Why? Somebody will always look out for you. You are not alone. So you see, you are connecting to God, but by connecting to God, you are connecting with other people with similar belief, and they will look out for you. So that is why you don't just say, oh, do they really need to go to church? Do they really need to know God? We'll leave them at their own time. They will meet with God. No, we have to be intentional. Since when they are younger, we have to be intentional. We have to pray with them. And we are still going to see. I don't want to jump it. So let me just go sequential. Let me just go. So another thing is that we said there's support, there's connection, because there's a bond. There's a bond because there's shared support, shared belief. They believe in the same thing. So they begin to have connection amongst people of the same belief. There is a bond. There's someone you can talk to. Because when we talk about mental well-being, the reason why a lot of people are having issues, a lot of adolescents, is because internet has come to stay. And what virtual life does is that it makes you alone. You are talking to people you don't know, perceived friends, people that don't care about you. They are just behind their laptop, behind their keyboard, just like you. They don't care if you eat. They don't care if they are happy. In fact, if they try to care, it's just because of maybe what they want to get from you. So you need real people in your life. And these real people you will find in the place, in your faith community. They believe what you believe. They share your burden with you. So they create a bond. Another thing that happens in a community, a faith-based community, is that there is mentorship. There is mentorship, but from those that are higher than you. Your child is getting into a year one. There are people in year four that are Christians like him. They will tell him, no, don't go through this path. What course are you studying? Oh, if you have any issue, just let me know. And they follow up. They are with them. They are trying to mentor them. You know, when my son went to school, he told me that he spoke with some people and they said, no, this is, if you want to do well, these are the things you need to do. Don't follow woman, don't do this. That is mentorship. You will not be there always. But you need somebody with same belief system, same value system, looking out for your child. And this is what is found in a faith-based community. What of if they are not in their institution, even in the church? Oh, some weeks ago, after I finished speaking to my teenagers in church, one of them walked up to me, said, Ma, I'd like you to be my mentor. You know, I'm always going to school, but I need somebody in my life that I can always talk to and will always tell me the truth. So that is what happened. Apart from community, I've talked about connection, support. There is mentorship, free mentorship, and this is what happened to me too as a teenager. I was mentored. I joined after I gave my life to Christ, after I had that deeper relationship with God through Christ. In my church, we used to have a group called Senior High. It's for teenagers, and we had counselors. And what do? After every fellowship, they stay around. And if you have issues, some issues are not even spiritual, they are just issues that you don't know how to navigate. And they're always sitting down there, mentoring us, teaching us, telling us this is what you should do. No, you don't do this to your parents. No, this is what you are where you are supposed to go. Do you know that there's a particular woman that mentored me as a teenager? She's still very present in my life. And we met as teenagers. This is over how many years? To be getting up to 30 years that she became present in my life as a mentor through a faith-based community. So, and what about peer mentorship too? Peer mentorship. So it's not just the horizontal mentorship, even the peer mentorship amongst themselves. They pray together. You have a burden. You say, oh, I don't know who to share with. Oh, we are in the same fellowship. Do you go through this as well? Can we hold hands to pray? And that affects mental health because stress is reduced. Most of the issues our adolescents have, mental health issues they have, most of it, they are stress induced. And why are they stress induced? They are misinterpreted, they are misjudged, people don't seem to understand what they are going through. It's just a whole lot, and they become very stressed. They are not doing well in school. They don't want to talk to you because they think as a parent they will be judged. They need someone that understands them. So they need that faith-based community. So that is what faith does. It creates a community for them. Another thing that faith does is teaches them commitment. It teaches them commitment. Remember, we are talking about mental well-being. Some of our adolescents, they did not grow up, in a place where they are taught how to be committed. They are all just so scattered. They are not organized. They want to do this, they want to do that without getting committed, doing the work, going through the process. By faith, when they join a faith-based community or by their connection with God, what happens? They learn to be committed to a cause. They learn to be committed to humanity. They learn to be committed to God. They learn to be committed. Faith is all about humanity and God. They learn, they choose a cause, they see it through. They try, they have someone they fear, or they have a supreme being they fear. Let me not say someone. So faith teaches commitment. They know, if I want to do this, I must see it through. And it is not only commitment that they learn resilience, because commitment is, commitment and resilience, they go hand in hand. And remember that mental health is directly proportional to resilient quotient. So that is what happens. They learn to be committed. As they are learning to be committed, they learn resilience. They know that I cannot start this and drop it. I must see it through. They don't give up. They see it to the very end. They cannot pick this and just move all around. So they learn commitment. Another thing that faith does to our adolescents is that it creates a coping mechanism for them. It creates a coping mechanism for them. They go through a lot, as adolescents. You are talking about character building. They have problems, they have the challenge of being of their best behavior, irrespective of emotions or the people they relate with, irrespective of their connection, irrespective of their emotions. They need to stay balanced. So faith creates a coping mechanism for them. So that means those that do not have anything, that part of their life being attended to, they can choose to misbehave. They can choose to say anything. They can choose to behave anyhow. We are still going to the next one. We talk about behavioral, but let's look at it, coping with the stress, even coping with their parents, even coping with the academics, even coping with their environment. Faith helps them to develop a well-balanced mental health. How? They learn to pray. Prayer is a coping mechanism. I'm sure our convener, she's a clinical psychologist, she will tell you that prayer, even psychology recognizes that prayer is a good coping mechanism. Why? They get to talk. That's talk therapy. They get to talk and cry and tell God, this is how I feel. If you can pray it, you feel lighter, you feel better, and the stress is reduced. So they pray. Meditation is another coping mechanism. Meditation, that one, we see that a lot. That is self-reflection sometimes, or reflecting on what they are ingesting, maybe the word of God they are reading. They reflect, they sit down, they think about it, and it helps them to reflect. Self-reflection, meditation, prayer, all this will help them. All this will help them. And even as they reflect, they can journal. Sometimes when you are reading the Bible, I'm a Christian, so I will only talk in the line of what I'm familiar with. When you are reading the Bible, in fact, where I have my jottings here, I journal some things there. I was reading a book. I've read the book. I think I read the book way long ago when I was a teenager. And I just saw the audio book. I said, let me read it. And I started reading. I started Law of Success by Napoleon Hill. You will see some of it. I journaled it. And that is what that is how it helps us. You journal your day, you journal what you want to happen to you, you self-reflect, you see how it is helping, how is it not helping, and you read the word of God, you keep journaling. So far you can express it. It reduces stress. And remember, you're already the adolescent is already a part of a community. So you can easily explain your emotions. You can explain your emotions, and you can have a balanced mental health. You can explain your emotion, because that is one of the major problems with adolescents: communication. They feel misjudged. So instead of talking to people that can help them, they keep it in. They get information that is not healthy. They get into habits that's not healthy. And what happens? They break down. So we can see how faith helps in building mental health. Another thing I wrote here, I've talked about community, I've talked about commitment, I've talked about coping mechanism. I want to talk about code of conduct. When I was talking about coping mechanism, I talked about behavioral. Irrespective of where you find yourself as a teenager, or they have to know that they have to be level-headed. And a good guide to being level-headed is your faith, because in your faith is related to your religion, which has set of guidelines that will help you. And faith will help you develop positive behavior. At least I know Christianity and some other religion, but Christianity that I know and that I've taught to teenagers and adolescents over the year will help you develop the code of conduct of your life, how you choose to live. It becomes your guide. So you are not out of character. You know that you are under, then you know that when you are not at home, there's no parent to run after you as a teenager or as an adolescent. There's no parent that you can't run after them. You can only pray or call them on the phone. If they say, I'm in my room and they are not in the room, you won't even know. If they say, I'm in school and they are not in school, you won't even know. So what happens if they fear God? So because that is what the code of conduct is all about. You fear God. You fear God. You honor your parents. And you are a good citizen in your environment. Because the Bible says true religion It's about taking care of the helpless and fearing him and honoring your parents. So you can see how faith even poses or gives them, they become the laws, they are written in the tablets of their hearts. You don't need to run around, because faith, their connection with God, has helped them even to move in areas where you don't, when you are not there, you have to make a choice. Should I cheat or should I not? Oh, no, I believe it is not right. I'm a child of God, I should not cheat. They are not there, but they can make that decision because of faith. And I said the last one on other code of conduct is their moral values, a set of moral values that will guide them as adolescents is from their faith. A set of moral values is from their faith. Another, the last one under faith is what? Comfort. They find comfort. You know, a lot of, you know, something as tiny as this can be a whole lot of problem for a teenager. And they, like I said, they have problem of communication, nobody to talk to, and it's all, oh, they just seem so messed up. They think it is substance that will help them. They try substance, you know, some try substance and they get in a deeper mess. But a teenager or an adolescent that that has a connection with God will find comfort, and the stress will be reduced. Will be reduced. So that is, sorry, that is what sorry, that is what faith does. They find comfort in faith when their parents don't even understand them, when friends do not understand them, when everything around them seems to be working against them. They hide inside God. They find comfort in God. They cry to God. They get refreshed. They get peace in God. And they have energy to wake up the next day and start moving forward. You can see how important faith is. If your child has found a connection with God, your job is half done. It's half done. Because all you just need to do is to call, check up, pray, and trust God to do the rest. When they get to a point that they don't even want to listen to you, they feel, oh, I'm right. What do? You pray too and ask God to let them see it. And by the time you are talking again, they said, you know what? I've checked it up too. And you have a common place to go. Faith brings a common ground between parents and adolescents, because you can say, okay, you believe in God, you believe the Bible. Have you read this part to address this situation? In times of confusion, in times where they are saying, no, I don't want to do it, and it's like the two of you, we are having back and forth, you can say, read this place. What do you think God is trying to tell you? And you say, okay, I've gone through it. Faith brings a common ground, a place where you meet with your teenagers. It's a good place to meet with your teenagers. So let's look at cultural, what culture does. You know, I'm talking about faith and culture. We're rounding up because it's similar. A strong cultural identity will also provide what? Support. Why is it that when our children, when people go abroad, when people leave this environment to another environment, one of the first places they go is they look for where people of similar belief. Culture is just a way of life, similar way of life, where they meet together. Why? To get support, to reduce stress. A lot of our teenagers go to study out of the country. And one of the first thing, one of my sons, in fact, two of my son's friends, they had to go and study in the US. And the same university they were going to study, I have a close relation there. So the first thing, as soon as I said, oh, somebody is here, oh, we have the same way of life. Oh, in fact, they didn't wait for me. The connection they have now is so great. And what does that do to them? It reduces the stress. They are in a new environment. At least somebody understands where we are coming from. And what has this cultural identity? You talk of, we both believe in respect. We believe in honoring people. We believe in practicing gratitude. There's a connection. you know. Community is also in our culture. So there's nothing bad in making sure our children, our adolescents, they have strong cultural identity. Why is it that when they are going to school, you see their parents, remember the child of whom you are. Remember, this is how we do it. This is how it is. And when they come back to tell you, when my teenagers come back from school, I say, my roommate, I say, that's not who you are. Remember who you are. Can you tell me who you are? And they say who you are in terms of their faith and the culture they grow. I said, that is who you are. So people don't need to change you based on who they are. Of course, our culture identifies community too. And I've said it, community gives what? Support. Community gives support. Community gives mentorship. Community gives connection. You connect with others. You have new friends. You have people you can lean on. There's also social support. Of course, our teenagers, our adolescents, they need what they need. So they have to be, there should be social well-being, not just mental well-being. Do you know why mental well-being is so important? Because if the social well-being is not in place as well, they are not connecting with people, they don't have real friends, they are just isolated, it affects their mental well-being. So social support also. Oh, the group, Nigerian students, we are having one outing. Will you be available? Come dressed in your local attire. We are going to be serving semo and fufu, semo and egusi. You can see that is trending on Instagram now with white. Everybody wants to eat fufu and egusi, you know. So you see, they all come together, they laugh together, they know where they are coming from. There's a social, like, at least you have somebody that understands where you are coming from. And then there's increased tolerance when there's good cultural identity. You can tolerate others. You can tolerate people. They are not okay. They don't understand where we are coming from. So because of that, you can give them some breathing space. You know where you are coming from. You have your community. You are together. When somebody misbehaves, you say, no, you would not understand. You have your own connection. They understand. So this person does not understand. And you know why they don't understand. You can tolerate them easier. But if you don't have an identity, no cultural, you'll be messed. Your brain is everywhere. You want to be like this, you want to be like that, you just want to be everywhere. You don't even have an identity. You want to be like everyone. You don't want to be authentic. But when there is a strong cultural identity, you're authentic. I'm so happy now that a lot of our children, they just want to identify with their culture. You will see them saying, Naija no dey carry last. That spirit of resilience is built in. They know where they are coming from. That is what strong cultural identity does. And that is how it affects mental health. Of course, like our own identity of resilience as Nigerians will make them always know that no, Naija no dey carry last o. And you see them working very hard, working very hard. Resilience is built with strong cultural identity. Okay, so how do they get rooted in faith? Number one is that you as a parent, you must be a model of that faith. A lot of our adolescents fall out of faith, or they just want to get out of the house and not identify with your faith because you are opposite of what you say. You are totally opposite of what you say you believe. So you have to be a model of faith. It's not too late. You have to know, what do you believe? Have you connected with God on a deeper level? When that is there, you can easily help your teenagers or your adolescents. You have to model faith for them. They have to see you. You have to say, okay, let's pray together. They have to see you pray. They have to see you calm, even in the face of storm. When they see all that, that is who they become too. Because they know what to do When everything is getting, you say, oh, my if I'm at home, my mom will just be so calm. All she will do is to pray. They will even tell you when they want to talk to you, they will say, I'm actually praying about it. And so don't worry, I'll pray along with you. So be a model. When they are growing up or when they come home or they are still with you, let them volunteer in the place of faith. In this case, it will be a church or a fellowship. Let them volunteer. Don't let them be idle. Because when they are idle, they are not experiencing, they will not be experiencing what that community have in stock for them. So when they leave the house and they go to, and they don't know what to do, let them be committed in the place of their faith, in the place of their belief. Let them volunteer. Oh, children are going to they are going to orphanages. Oh, what do you have? Let's go with them. Oh, they need people to sing. Oh, you can sing. Why not join them? Let them volunteer so that they will have a strong base of their faith. And then share your faith with them. Be very practical. Please, when we're taught, something we do as parents or caregivers is that we don't want to be vulnerable. They learn from your vulnerability. Let them know. You know, there was a day I said I wanted to pray and I knelt down, I slept off. And you know, when I woke up, I was telling them, like, can you imagine I want, and I slept off. So it's normal to sleep off, you know. You don't judge them by small sleep. Let them know that I go through it and this is how I handle it. Let it be vulnerable. Even if you've made mistakes in the place of faith. Oh, I misjudged someone. Do you know I shouted at someone and I know this is not the right thing for me to do? And as a child of God, I was not supposed to shout and I shouted. And they'll say, oh, said I just had to tell God to forgive me and keep, you know. And then now that they are teenage, share materials that will help them. Share materials that will help them grow in faith. Don't keep it to yourself. You see a small clips that talks about, you know, how they can hold up. It is age appropriate. Send it to them that, see, I saw these clips. I'm sure you will find it interesting. Talk about it. What do you say about it? Look for teachable moments. Go out together. Watch age appropriate films. Discuss it. Have time with them where you talk about faith. Don't make it too serious. You'll be so shocked that they will calm down, they will ease out, and they will talk to you, and you'll be able to hold their hands and you pray for them. So that's where I'm going to end. Share materials, do activities with your teenagers, with your adolescents that helps them build better cultural identity and their faith, to grow in their faith. Yes, that is just the word. So that's where I'm going to end. I don't know if I have questions, but always remember this: you cannot force faith down the throat of your adolescents. They'll watch you, they will see you. The intentions you put behind it will help them to be grounded in their faith and to grow in it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you. That was so good. That was so good. Thank you so much. And yesterday I was asking a question. I was asking Ms. Oluwatoyin that the role of faith in, in resilience, that sometimes there's a clash, when faith tells you just have faith, grace is there for you, mercy would work for you, and then you're telling somebody to be resilient when they want to just hand over everything to God, and you've been able to bring a balance to everything. And also, when you said we as parents must actually mirror our faith to our children, because I think that's where the major problem with the millennials were. Our parents, we see them on the pulpit preaching to people, but when they get home, they are different people. So we can't reconcile what we are reading in the Bible and the people we have in our homes. And they've been able to tell us that faith should not antagonize culture. They should work hand in hand, because sometimes we feel, oh, culture is at the far right and then faith is at the far left. They shouldn't merge. I love the way you were able to explain that even your culture can help to build resilience. The same way with faith. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. All right. So over to the audience. Do we have any question for Miss Omolara before she leaves? I mean, she did justice to the topic. Everyone is saying thank you so much for this session. The session was so detailed. So detailed. Yeah, for those of us who don't have adolescent yet, I'm happy because by the time I do, I have all this knowledge to apply. Thank you so much. All right, Izoluwatoyin is here. I'll hand over to her.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining this evening session. When Mrs. Omalade started talking about how faith and how culture helps with resilience, I was like, in fact, she's just the best person to handle this topic because she's someone I know that she's deeply rooted in her culture and she's also deeply rooted in her faith. Now, one reason we're having this topic is that in mental health, individuals who do not believe in a higher power, individuals who do not believe in a higher power, individuals who do not have a culture, they tend to lose hope easily. And because of that, you were saying something about suicidal rate yesterday, Tim Tile, yeah. And this is one reason the suicidal rate is quite high out there because they don't have an anchor, they don't have something that they can place their hope on. But people with faith, people with culture, these people tend to have a lot of resilience because they have something that they can always go back to that will help them to bounce back and to become better human beings. And this is one reason we're having this topic: faith, the place of faith and culture in mental health. Thank you so much, Sister Molade. I call her Sister
Thank
Molade,
you.
she's my friend, and she's also my sister. So while we wait for questions, I will go back to the background, but I just need to talk about that, the role of faith and culture in mental health, because one of the things we've seen in mental health that people who do not have faith in anything, who do not believe in a higher power, people who do not have a connection to their culture or do not identify with the root, they tend to have low resilience and they tend to have very poor mental health, especially when they have a mental disorder. It takes like times 10 to work with people like that to come out of that state compared to someone who has faith and who has a cultural identity. Thank you so much. I'm going back to the background while we wait.
Thank you so much, Ma. So I'm looking through the comment, and it seems people don't really have any question. They're just re-echoing what you said so far. That we should have teachable moments with our adolescent. We should allow them to volunteer in the place of faith. And this would help them to have a strong base of faith. So everybody just kept on, reiterating everything that you said so far. And I want to believe that's because they really understood it, because you broke it down. They really understood what you were communicating to them. Thank you so much, Ma. It's so good to have you. We're so
Thank
grateful.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Moving on. We're moving on to our second speaker for the day. That's Mrs. Tega Omoga. She's here already, and I'm excited for what's to come. But before then, I want to quickly read her bio so we can familiarize ourselves with her. So I begin. Miss Tega Omoga is a visionary who is passionate about behavioral changes. She's an author, an LLP practitioner, a seasoned trainer, and also a prolific communication expert. She's a public speaker, a positive psychology practitioner, and an emotional intelligence certified coach. She's also a substance abuse counselor, an interventionist, a certified mental health and addiction therapist, a trauma informed counselor, and a teens mentor who uses her past experiences to help mold every youth she comes in contact with so that they don't told the part that she did. She is the founder, executive director of Flourish Life Center, which is a faith based trauma informed and empowerment driven rehabilitation and wellness center committed to restoring females spiritually and psychologically. And through this center, she has been able to provide holistic support for women who are in recovery. She's also the project coordinator of Back to Light Foundation, which is aimed at helping drug abuse victims. She also serves as the lead coach of the Tega Omogo Consult, an organization through which she coaches, counsels, and teaches life skills that helps people improve their output in life. Aside all this, she's also a trained United Nations on drug and criminal substance abuse educator and a member of the International Society of Substance Use Professionals. And she currently serves as the North Central Regional Chair of Nigeria for mental health in the Club G100 Global Female Leaders. She has attended several trainings and holds certifications from recognized institutions in mental health, addiction, counseling, and leadership. Aside this, she also organizes outreaches. She goes to schools to sensitize people and empower them in Abuja, FCT, preparing the youth for the after school life. She has spoken on numerous platforms, right? Both religious and secular, including the 2019 FIDA African Regional Congress. She's a business owner who lives in the city of Abuja, and she's happily married with an adorable son. Wow, such an impressive bio. Come on, let's show our appreciation by clapping our hands. You're welcome, Ma. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Can you hear me? Am I audible enough?
Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Fantastic.
So I'm
Thank
just
you
going to
so
hand
much.
over the floor to you so you can do the thing you know how to do best. All right, Ma.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you so very much. It's such an honor to be here. I want to share my slides if I will be able to. Okay, let me see. Uh, it's such an honor to be here. Thank you, Auntie Tony. You know that I love you very much. Um, I love when I have to, speak on anything that has to do with behavioral change and anything that has to do with, raising children. Because if you read something about my bio, when you said I use my past experiences so that no child that I come across goes through what I have gone through. So it's very important. It really is important to me. And then, most important, I like to talk about raising children because I just had a child myself. It's not just recently, it's like 3 years old, but for me, it's just so, yeah. Um, so I'm going to be sharing my slides. Thank you, Faith. Thank you. And Tony, thank you for having me on this. I really appreciate this. Thank you to the moderator. I wish I could just speak like you. You speak so well. You just read it out, read my bio out, and I was feeling like, is this me you're talking about, or is this someone else? Thank you, Auntie Molade. So good to also have you here. I'm trying to upload my slides. Hopefully, to come up very quickly. So I'm talking about raising emotionally resilient children this evening. And one of the reasons why that is important is because we we have a lot of children these days that are, very, they fall apart so very quickly. We can't have these days, all because mental health has become something that has become, important now, or maybe more spoken about. Every small thing you hear, my mental health is suffering. My mental health is suffering. I don't want to do that. My mental health is suffering. And I'm wondering, really, we were here before. Our mental health did not suffer like this, but you're making it look as if, oh no, life is about to end. But many of to develop mental muscle. That's what I call it. I call it mental muscle. We need to develop mental muscle. So my slides are not coming up. Okay, can you see my slides?
I'm going to put stop now.
Fantastic. I love it. Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Hey, this is my slides.
Yes, that's what you uploaded.
Okay, raising emotional intelligent families to prevent substance use. Okay. No, this is not mine.
Do you want to upload it again?
Yeah, maybe I should. Um, okay, I found it. When we're talking about
Do you want to send a slide to me
substance
so I
use
can
all the
upload?
time, we always have one like that. So yes, I found it
Do you want to send
actually.
a slide to me so I can upload for you?
Okay, but it's uploading now, sure.
Okay, okay. Let me
Let
go
me
back.
just go ahead regardless. So we're raising emotionally intelligent kids. So anyway, let me just start anyway. If it comes up, fine. If it doesn't. So the first thing we're going to understand is our goal here today is to equip us with practical real world strategies to nurture emotionally resilient, confident, and problem solving children. And many times when we hear this, what comes to most parents' minds is you want us to be perfect, right? But we are not asking you to be perfect because no one is perfect. It's about being present and intentional. There's a quote, there's something I say all the time. I tell people that life is in session, be present. So I'm going to also say to parents, parenting is important for you to be present. So parenting is in session, be present. You must be intentional. And I like that we talked about faith also, and because many times we don't realize that the God who gave us these children has given us as stewards, and so we will also give account. So when he was asking that book, the parable of the talents, when he was talking about the one who had five, who had three, who had two, who had one of the talents, he gave them talents to steward. So when God has given you talents to steward, you will give account. That's why he could tell someone to go into utter darkness. So if he has given us talents to steward, remember that children also we have been given to steward and we will give account. So when my mother was having 11 children, I'm not sure she realized that she will give account for the 11. Then three now died, the remaining eight. But she's in heaven now. I'm sure she has given accounts. And I'm sure she's looking down and saying, God, I know some of these things that these children have turned out to be. Now you help me. Because really, we need to be intentional. Many of us are running after money. We're running after, the economy, especially in our climate, is not smiling. So before it was not this difficult, a lot of parents were listening to motivational speakers that tell you 7 streams of income is the way you can become wealthy. Then now that we are inside the inflation, you need maybe like 14 streams of income. And by the time you do that, you now have children that you need to bring up, you need to be around. You just tell yourself that, look, I cannot come and go and die. High blood pressure is real, right? So it's not about being perfect, it's just about being present and intentional. So children don't need perfect parents, they need emotionally safe ones who can guide them through life's ups and downs with wisdom, patience, and a lot of love. So if you want to just understand this thing, you're going to put 2 spoons of wisdom in a bottle, put 5 spoons of patience, then put 5 spoons of love, shake it together. Take 2 spoons in the morning, two in the afternoon, and two in the evening, because you need a lot of it. So what are we going to learn? What emotional resilience really means and why it matters for our children, your powerful role in shaping emotional coping patterns, and simple teachable skills to use at home starting today, and how to model your resilience in your own daily life, right? So I'm going to ask first of all, the last time your child was upset, think back. Just think back when the last time your child was upset. Remember the last time your child was sad, angry, or frustrated. What happened? Maybe it was a friendship issue, maybe it was a bad grade or a disappointment about not making the team. What was your response? Did you respond in that moment? Did you fix it immediately? Did you listen first? Did you get frustrated yourself? I don't want you to now start thinking this woman is about to judge us because her life was perfect. I beg, far from it. I wrote there very nicely. We listen and we don't judge. All of us are learning together. I became an emotional intelligence coach because I knew I needed it when in my work with substance use victims, right? And then I realized that it's such a broad topic, and there are different things that you need to learn. It has helped me, and we need to also understand that parenting is not about your child. Parenting is more about you and your emotions. Yes, that's why I talked about the doses that you have to take of wisdom, patience, and love, right? So, what do you change? What do you wish you had done differently? The honest reflection is where growth begins. Every moment is a chance to practice new approaches. Not long ago, I don't even remember what it was with my son, and I was under a lot of pressure. So I'm starting an all female rehabilitation center in a week, and I was doing a lot of work, and some funds came in, and I needed to quickly put my thoughts together. What is this fund going for? No mismanagement, everything. And then my 3-year-old boy came and he said, Mama, Mama, please write 1, 2, 3, 4. Mama, please write 1 to 5. Mama, please write A to Z. I'm like, come on, this guy. I know how to write it. You are the one that needs to learn how to write it. That's in my head. And then he didn't relent, so he just kept coming. Mama, 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 you don't want to share. Mama not sharing with me. I'm like, goodness. I said, you know what? Go and meet your papa. And he went to his dad, and his dad was also in his head. And then he told him, he said, no, 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 go away. As soon as his father said, go away, hey, I looked at him and I said, come, bring it, let Mama write it. Oh, Miss Kure, your 19-year-old considered suicide, and I didn't see any reason why. Oh, I apologize about this. I'm so sorry. I hope that you can have a conversation about this with Mrs. Tony Ogunkomi. She'll be able to work with you on this. I apologize. So I'm glad someone shared that. So you can share in the chat room. Sometimes hearing another parent's story helps us to see our situation more clearly. Now, this is me talking about someone writing 1 to 5 and A to Z, but someone had a more important thing. This is how we understand each other. I apologize. I'm sorry about this. And I hope she's better now. I hope she's better now. So, understanding emotional resilience. What is emotional resilience? She was treated and she's okay now. Fantastic. I celebrate you and I celebrate her. I celebrate you both. Well done, ma'am. Well done. Well done. So emotional resilience is the ability to bounce back from challenges, adapt to change, and manage difficult emotions in healthy ways. It's not about avoiding problems or never feeling hurt. It's about recovering, learning, and moving forward. I know people who have fallen apart. I tell people that I am the queen of resilience. I have come back from things that many people have broken from. And so I loved it when she said I should be the one to take this, because listen, life was designed to throw us lemons. And every child's challenges are very, very valid. Whether a child is 3 years old, whether they're 6 months old, whether they're 19 years old, or whether they've become full-blown adults and they're married or even have children. If you check a 3-year-old, okay, let me start with a 6-month-old. A 6-month-old that they're probably weaning, because most parents wean their babies at about 6 months, yeah? When you're weaning your child at 6 months, that child is crying, as in to sleep at night becomes a problem. And then the child, that's a valid problem for the child. That's a valid challenge. You are withdrawing me from something that I grew into. It is valid. When the baby turns 1.5, they are probably walking and they are falling as they are walking. They still want you to carry them. And you are thinking, I beg, you have started walking, my friend, stroll. That is valid because they are upset. A 5-year-old is thinking about other things. My 3-year-old was just looking for me to sometimes just hug him, sometimes just understand what he's saying. So every age has its valid challenges. So the fact that you're a parent does not mean that you are going to invalidate their challenges. It's important that you know that they will have them, because life is designed like that. From the day we were born, we have started working in challenges. So now look at this key difference. 2 kids fail a test. One says, I'm so dumb, I'll never get it. The other says, that hurt, but I can study differently next time. That second response, that's resilience in action. So that's why you see when a child falls down, when they are learning to walk, and you pull them up and say, go again, you are teaching the child resilience already at one. But many parents, especially first time mothers, or God help us, those of us who waited for so long to have a child, I waited 10 years to have my child. When the child falls down, you're thinking, hey, don't walk again so you don't fall down and break your bones. Please, oh, stay in one place. It's okay when it's time, when your leg is stronger, you can walk. But no, you should actually let the child get up and walk again. Letting them know that you can go again. What did you do wrong the first time? It has taught you now how to do it differently. Why does it matter? Because life won't always go their way. Rejections, mistakes, disappointments are all part of growth. My son, because he came after 10 years, and I'm quite in a few communities, even in church communities. When he was born, it was such a big deal, and people were really happy for me. And so I had a lot of guests. In fact, at some point in the hospital, the security man, when you are coming into the ward, he would just say, are you looking for Tega? That's her room. Some people will now say, no, that's not who we're looking for. He was so sure. The doctors were asking my brother if I was a Nollywood actress. It was the funniest thing ever, because I had a lot of people come by the room. So my son is used to love. Oh my goodness, my son has 32 names. Everybody in my family gave him names. Everybody in my husband's family gave him names. Friends gave him names. Pastors gave him names. Mentors gave him names. Spiritual parents gave him names. He has 32 names. And so we couldn't even give all the names on the naming ceremony. We just chose very, very few. In fact, at his naming ceremony, my sister gave a name instantly. So yeah, he's used to a lot of love. Everywhere he goes, he hugs people. So when you reject my son, he doesn't understand it, because he grew up with love. And my sister told me, she said, you now have to start talking to him that life will not always be so sweet. Not everybody's going to love you. Yes. And so it even happened a few days ago. Somebody he was playing with, and I came and said, Mama, Eliora told me no. I said, yes, life is like that. People will tell you no. So now I have even started telling him no, even for things that I should say yes to. When he wants something, I'll say, nope, you can't have it. Just so he will know that you can't always have it. And because I realized that I need to teach him emotional resilience. If not, by the time I'm long gone, maybe when he's a married man with children and I've gone to be with the Lord, he will not be able to handle little things, because he'll be used to us always making things easy for him. So resilience helps children manage stress. It helps them to think clearly and believe in themselves even when challenges come. Now, I want you to think about your own childhood. Who helped you? What helped you resilience? What did they do that worked? That's the legacy you're building for your children. Some of us forget what we went through. We say, oh, I don't want my children to go through the things I went through. But that thing you went through is more or less what toughened you, as long as it wasn't abuse. If it was abuse, that's a different thing altogether. But if it was you just pushing through life, that is what has built you to where you are today. But many of us, there's a quote I saw somewhere. He said, I rode a Cadillac. No, I walked with my legs. My son drove a Mercedes. His son drove a Cadillac. My grandson's son is going to walk on his legs, because the easier you make life be for them, the harder it is for them to manage their own lives on their own without us. So wise resilience is essential. It protects against stress. It helps us with clear thinking under pressure, independence, and confidence. Very, very true, because your children are not going to be with you forever. Nah. That's why sometimes these days, as a substance use counselor, when people come, some mothers will come and say, this my son has been doing drugs, I'm tired, I think he should just get married. Once he gets married, he said it correct. And I always say to them, why do you want to put someone else's child through this stress? The girl is not a rehabilitation center. So why are you now making your child, who you did not build resilience in, to marry someone whose parents put in the work to build resilience, and you have they've what's the word now? They've brought up a very wholesome female. You now want to bring that boy to come and drag her life down? Let's not do this now. She's not a rehabilitation center. Let's take him back to a rehabilitation center. Let him go and learn the skills that he needs. Let him find a counselor. Let him find a therapist. Let him learn the things he needs to learn. to be a wholesome father and husband, then he can go and get married. So resilience is essential for independence. So how do we teach them coping skills in emotional? This is the emotional toolbox. Coping skills are the emotional tools children use to calm down and think clearly when they are upset. It is not innate. Before I used to think that because okay, when now I'm the youngest of eight, my older sisters, my older ones have children who are married and have children now. Some of them had children even before I had my own child. So one of my nieces, she's married now with three children. When she was a baby, I was in their house, and I remember that there were cushions she was playing with, and she was trying to take the cushions and put them back on the chair. But the cushions will fall apart. She would go back and carry them and put them. She was not crying. She always made sure she would go back and put them back. It was so beautiful to see. At one time, I wanted to help her, and my sister said, "No, leave her. She's doing her. She's teaching herself how to, be resilient." And I'm like, "Oh wow, nice." And thought it was innate, my dear. It was not innate. It's when I had my son I realized that it was not an innate ability. It is a learned behavior. My sister is the one who taught her daughter. When she was crying in the beginning, she'll say, "Go back and do it again. Stop crying, go back and do it again." And that was at 3, 4. So they are learned behaviors. We can teach, we can practice, and we can reinforce these things at home. And that's exactly what my sister had done. So thinking skills. One, help them name their emotions clearly. I feel angry. I feel sad. I feel nervous. If you don't name it, you cannot tame it. So help them name it. I don't know how they taught my son that in school. Well, sometimes when things happen, the first thing he says to you is, "Mama, are you angry? Are you sad? Are you happy?" It's so funny. Sometimes when I want to register my displeasure, I'll say, "Yes, I'm angry," or "Yes, I'm sad." Or sometimes I'll just be like, "Yes, I'm happy." I'm always happy. So help them name their emotions clearly. Number two, help them practice positive self-talk. Tell them you can do it again. Let them know you get better. You did it this time. You didn't get it. Try again. Just try again. Let's see whether you do it better. Oh, nice. You have done it better. The next thing you need to do is add perspective questions. What else could be true? How can we see this differently? How can you see it differently? It will help them to think, "Oh, okay, so if I put this one and then put this one, oh, okay, that works." Help them, ask them. That's what we do in coaching, really, and therapy, because you don't know yourself. I don't know you as much as you know yourself. So I'm going to be asking you perspective questions so that you will actually have to now think about the questions that I have asked you and another way to answer them, or another way to get, that challenge solved. Number two, action skills. Deep breathing or counting to 10. So my husband was yelling at my son a few days ago, and the next thing he said is, "Take deep breaths, Papa." My son is 3.5 years old. "Take deep breaths, Papa. Breathe in and out." My husband just looked at me and said, "If you don't leave my phone," I burst into laughter. I was happy that he knew that. So the next time he tried to throw a tantrum, I told him, "Kesena, take deep breaths and count 1 to 10. He's 3.5 years old. He tried to do as much as he could, but I like the fact that he has learned that. He has learned that. I even thought that it was too young to learn. Apparently, they've taught him in school. So I took advantage of it. And like they say, what they teach in school or in church, plus parenting, is called nakolabo. So it's no, we don't leave it to the teachers. We don't leave it to teen teachers in church. We collaborate with them. We see where they've gone and we get in, and then all of us make it a wholesome learning, right? Taking a break. Number two, under action skills, taking a break or doing something active. When you see that they're stressed out, tell them, "Take a break. Come, let's take a walk. Let's take a walk. Walk around," especially when you're doing home fun. When you're doing home fun with a child and they're not getting it, you are getting frustrated. You will notice that it's you that is actually getting angry because you have other things to do. Instead of you to just lose your cool, you take a break, take a walk with your child, skip, draw, listen to music, distract them for a bit, then go back to what it is that you wanted them to do. The next one is journaling. Write or journal what they feel. Teach them to write or journal, especially when they're older. Let them start to journal what they feel, right? You don't always have to now tell them, "Oh, no, You cannot, you mean daddy doesn't like writing. So you too, you have inherited it. No. People learn these things. All these skills are learnable, every single thing. And it takes intentionality to be able to get through and get all of this done. Support skills. You can talk to a trusted adult. Let them know that they can talk to a trusted adult. And the adult doesn't necessarily have to be you. Yes, I said it. It doesn't have to be you. Very importantly, if you have a friend or an or a sibling or a relative who is someone your child loves or likes to hang out with or finds cool, let me tell you a very, very open secret. Go and let them know what you want. They will tell your child, and guess what? Your child will take it because guess what? They love them. Not because they don't love you, but because they think you're extra, right? So they will not take what you're saying. But when, and they think it's authority. Your mom is too extra, mom is too authoritative. I beg, she's always shouting. But when that auntie that they look up to, that they think is so cool, tells them, do you know what they'll say? I've heard this thing many times. They'll be like, do you know my mom says the same thing? But the way she says it, she's always saying it with five. But guess what? You have passed your message and you have used the cool auntie. So don't take advantage of the cool auntie. Don't dismiss it and say, no, she must listen to me. There is a time where they will listen to you. There is a time where peer pressure will be important to them. You must now find someone who they love and are drawn to, and then you mentor that person so the person can mentor your child. All right. Also, asking for help instead of hiding problems. Teach them how to ask for help instead of hiding their problems. Because you must also let them know that you too, you've had issues, and this is how you managed your issues. Spending time with safe and positive people. Children know how to decipher much more than we. We are very distracted, but they can pick up things that we don't pick up. So it's important that when they come to you and tell you they don't like this person, they're not comfortable with this person, I beg you with everything that you hold dear, listen to them. Uh, there's something that they have seen or witnessed or heard that you have not witnessed, seen, or heard, right? So, yes, those are the three things in the emotional toolbox. Now, let's go to the step problem solving method. When children face problem, our instinct is to fix things for them. We just want to help them because guess what? It cuts short the time of explaining. Somebody is crying. Somebody is, you just like, okay, no, don't worry, do it so that you have some peace to do what you do. It's the same thing we do when they want to watch cartoons. They are disturbing you. You are on your laptop. You're trying to work. Then next thing, just say, "I bet on cartoon for, I'll make it a watch." That's what many of us do. I did it for some time until I realized that I'm not helping this child. So instead, I would leave my work and find a way to engage him, and then I'll go back to my work without necessarily making it screen time 100%. So let's not fix things. Teaching them how to solve problems builds independence and confidence instead of being their rescue team, become their coach. I told you earlier, a coach would help you navigate through life. A coach does not tell you the way. A coach will show you this is the way to go. Do you think this is where you want to go, or do you think this is where you should go? Be their coach, especially when they become teenagers, right? Number one, which is S, say the problem clearly. So when a child comes, help them articulate it. Ask them, can you say exactly what is wrong? I'm upset because my friend didn't talk to me today. When you help them articulate what's bothering them, you will understand that it's not just surface frustration. Help them say it properly. T, think of possible solutions. Do you want to talk to her? Do you want to ignore it? Or you ask what happened? Brainstorm together without judgment. Don't forget that thing that they say, we listen, we don't judge. It's very important with teenagers and children these days. You listen, you don't judge. Just help them brainstorm together without judgment. So what do you want to do? Was it you that upset her? What do you think you should do next? Do you want to ask her? Do you want to ignore it? Is she your good friend like that? Do you really love her? If she doesn't talk to you again, how would you feel? Even wrong answers help them practice thinking. Because when they start to think, okay, well, mommy, if she doesn't really talk to me again, it's okay, I'll be fine. It's not that deep. I didn't do anything wrong. Then you know that you're helping them think. But if immediately you say, don't worry, I will call her mother. I know her mother. I'll call her mother now. Why is your daughter not talking to my son? What happened? My dear, you will not always be there unless you are going to marry your child or your child will marry and live in your house. You must help them find ways of thinking of possible solutions, right? The next E is evaluate each option. Which one is kind and likely to work? Which is called a win-win situation. This is what we talk about in conflict resolution. Win-win situation. I win and you win. Not that one person wins. Which one is kind and likely to work? Guide them to consider consequences and values. Listen, if your children don't have values, they will fall for everything. So when they know their values, you can use their values to make their decisions by telling them what is important to you. Is being kind to someone else important to you? What do you think happened that made her so upset with you? Oh, you were not kind to her. Is kindness important to you? And the only reason your child is going to be able to articulate their own values is when you have articulated yours. I have a friend who has a framed picture of the family values. So you, dear mother, dear father, do you know what your family values are? So when people say, oh, remember the home that you come from, what they're actually trying to tell you is that in this house, we don't steal. So honesty is important to us. So honesty is one of our family values. Integrity is our family value. Godliness is our family value. So kindness is our family value. So when you teach your children early what family values are, which means you and your husband must come together, you and your spouse must come together to be able to know what your family values are, articulate it clearly, and then your children will embody it and add their own according to their personalities, right? So values, guide them to consider consequences and their values. This is where wisdom begins to develop, and guess what? They will begin to now understand how to, problem solve on their own, even without you. When you ask them, you hear them say, well, because I'm a kind person, I would not like to see her get into trouble. So instead of her getting into trouble, I will make sure I tell her this and that and that. You have raised a superstar. You have raised someone whose values are deeply embedded in them, because a person who doesn't know their values will be swayed in every corner. Peer pressure will press their neck, and they will fall for it, right? So pick one and try it. So when they have taken any of the possible solutions, they have evaluated each option, tell them to pick one and try it. Example, I'll talk to her during break. Support their choice. Support it completely. You don't need to now be the one to say, no, I don't think that's good. No, let them go. Support it. Then follow up. And if it doesn't work perfectly, they are building problem-solving muscles. She will come right back to you, or he will come right back to you and say, Mom, I talked to her and she really shrugged me off and she did this and that. You'll not be like, okay, so what else do we do? Guess where we're going to? We are back to thinking of possible solutions. We keep going until we get the one that is right, and then you're teaching them to actually always try again, regardless of when something has failed, right? So, a real world example: your child forgot their homework again and is visibly upset. They want you to call the teacher or bring it to the school. What do? Instead of rescuing them, guide them. I see you're upset. What do you think we can do about this? It's you, I will ask. I'm not going to come and start, hey, I'm not a helicopter mommy. I'm not going to do that. I see you upset. What do you think we can do? What happened that made you forget? So what do we do about this next time? Would it help to talk to your teacher, yourself, about what happened? Let's think about it together. What do you think we should do? What are the possible solutions? It helps them think, and guess what? It helps them not to repeat the mistake. Because when they thought, well, if you always run and, hey, don't worry, I'm running to your school, I will ring it. You now get there and give the teacher, they take it. The next time she does it again, in her mind, mom is going to bring it to school. Don't worry, I just call my mom, she'll bring it to school. She's not thinking of responsibility and independence. So remember that our job isn't to remove every obstacle. It's to help them build inner problem-solving muscles that they will use for a lifetime. And guess what? Like every muscle, when you use it frequently, the more you use it, the stronger it gets. So everyday ways to build resilience at home. I love how hard you tried, instead of only praising outcomes. You know that thing they say, good boy, Good girl. I learned recently that it is best to praise the effort, encourage the effort over results. Because every time you say, "Oh, good job, you have done well," and give them a high five for when they do well, and you don't give them a high five when they don't do well, you are breaking their self confidence. So instead, encourage the effort. "Oh, you did amazing. I love how hard you tried. It may not have turned out well, but it's okay. We'll try again." It teaches them that persistence matters more than perfection. We need to let them know that you keep going at something, because every time you give up on something, you never know if you have actually hit gold. You must just keep going back until you hit the gold every single time. Number two, let them make small decisions. Give them age appropriate choices. What to wear. This morning, they said we should bring fruits to school. My son is 3 years and 6 months. They said we should bring a lot of fruits to share with their friends. Don't bring for only them. And so, yeah, I bought like a basket full of pineapple, um, watermelon, apples, and oranges. And then they say when they are coming to school, wear them the color of their favorite food as a t-shirt, favorite fruit as a t-shirt on a pair of jeans. So my husband said, I said green because I know he loves apple. My husband said, no, 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 no. He loves bananas too. Let him wear yellow. I didn't say anything. I kept quiet. So they say we should be emotionally intelligent. Sha, they brought the two t-shirts out and kept them there. The next thing, my my nanny was dressing him up and asked me, "Mama, which shirt should I wear for him?" And I looked at him before I could even say anything. He said, "I want the green one. It's the color of apples." I'm like, goodness, hey, see what I'm going to teach later today. He had made the decision on what he wanted to wear. He had accepted that apple is his favorite fruit and that is his color. I was so glad. Which homework to do first? Decision making builds confidence. Even if they don't do it right, let them do it and you tell them, "Well done. I love how hard you try. What else can we do differently?" Guess what? We're not all going to be with these children forever. We can't be. So start to train them for when you will not be here. Model emotional control. Show calmness through your own example. When you mess up, talk about it. Talk about it. I tell my 3 year old, "I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Baba." And he'll tell me, "It's okay, Mama." It's not because um, I can't say, I beg, leave me alone. But because I want him to also learn that when you make a mistake or when you mess up, you can apologize. And so he has learnt it. So when he's done something and he sees that I'm not happy, he will come to me and say, "I'm sorry, Mama. I'm so grateful that I learned emotional intelligence in my life. I'm so grateful that I became an emotional intelligence coach because that has really helped me in bringing, him up and being able to talk about this today." So let them know I got frustrated and raised my voice. That wasn't helpful. I apologize. Let me try again. Discuss mistakes openly. Stop making it look like you're so perfect. You see this thing that parents tell their children, "I always came first," when you know it's not true. Why? Then they will not see your results one day. They will now think that everything you ever told them is a lie. You don't know this Gen Z people and Gen Alpha. They'll be wondering, "Mom, what exactly is true? Is your name really such and such?" Just let them know that you also have mistakes that you have made. Discuss them. Share your stories of failure. Share how you came back. Share your recovery. Normalize setbacks as learning opportunities, not character flaws. Because all of us, every single one of us, we go through stuff in life. Then create regular check-ins. How was your day emotionally? Not just how was school. This teaches them emotional awareness and vocabulary. When you just ask them, "So, what happened today? How was your day? Were you happy? Were you sad? How did you feel?" Let them know. When they increase their emotional vocabulary, it helps them have emotional awareness. And that's so very important. So, your reflection and your next steps. The essential question is, if my child learns emotional habits only from watching me, the mother, what would they learn? Take a moment with this question. Be honest. Your own answer shows where to focus your growth as a parent. If they were learning from you, their emotional habits, are they going to be throwing tantrums? Are they going to be yelling at everyone? Are you one of those parents that they call the lion of the tribe of the family? When you come home, everybody is scampering like we used to do when we were younger. I didn't do it, Sha, because I was the last child, and I was everybody's teddy bear. So even if they came home, I would be happy to wait for you at the door. But my older siblings, they will just disappear into their rooms. Are you one of those now? Remember this, resilience isn't something we give our children. It's something we grow in them through daily examples, through calm conversations, and safe emotional spaces. One mom I know, she said, I beg, this gentle parenting is not for me. I've tried it. These children need gospels, gospels, gospels. Yeah, you think you're doing that and you're, guess what? You are actually getting immediate results. Everybody is calm. But on the long run, what are we doing with those children, right? So we can afford to control. Okay, you are not just raising kids, you are raising future adults who will face challenges with courage and with grace. You see children that don't want to see their parents today. Yesterday I had a conversation with my brother, and he said, he told me about something he saw on the internet. The father, every time he came home, he had a lot of jobs. I mean, he had maybe 10 income streams. So he was busy. He needed to give them a good life. They had all the things that they needed in life, and that was fantastic. However, he wasn't there for them emotionally and physically. And so every time they came to his study, he would tell them, shut the door, I'm working. Shut the door, I'm working. And then now he's old. The children are all married. They came to visit him at home. I think his wife has passed. And then the children were going and they were asking him, Dad, should we shut the door? And he said, no, leave the door open. I want to see you walk away. He wishes that he spent more time with them when they were younger and not telling them to shut the door. So we can control the storms our children will face. We can't control the storms our children will face, but we can equip them with umbrellas that last a lifetime. Every parent has got this. Your commitment to being here today shows your children are what matters the most. A parent who keeps learning, growing, and bringing them up with love. I hope we have questions, and I've come to the end of my session.
Wow, wow, wow. Thank you so much, Ma. I feel like I know your son already. I feel like I've met him. I feel like I've met him. Oh mine. And coincidentally, I also have a daughter who is within the age range, and I understood everything you were trying to say.
Please, can I bring my son to your house?
No, no, no. I have a daughter of the same
Since you have a
age.
daughter that is that age, I want to bring my
Oh,
son to your house on
please
holiday.
do, please. Oh mine, oh mine, oh mine. And there's something you said. You said if our children are to learn emotional control, if the only time they can learn it is from us, how would they turn out? And honestly, I started thinking about the tantrums. Even me myself, I throw sometimes. My husband was still telling me yesterday that this thing that you did now, if the children were here, what would you want them to think? You know? And I was like, they pick up these things, they pick up these things. So when you said that thing, it was a straight bullet. It hits me. I was like, okay,
I'm
okay, okay.
sorry. I didn't mean to shoot any bullets. I'm sorry.
It's fine. Wow, thank you so much, Ma. We really, really, really do appreciate. Thank you so much. All right, so let me look through the comment and see if anyone has a question. If you have a question, please drop it in the comment section so she can answer your questions. Wow. Wow. This is really so good. Too good. Too good. And the breathing exercise, I've tried to do it with my son who is around 5 years old. I was like, okay, can you breathe in? And then you go, okay, breathe out. And then it's still, it's still, he continues. I was like, calm down. Let
Oh my
me,
goodness.
you know, it's always very frustrating. And that thing you said about just sending the children to go and watch TV. So now we've limited screen time in the house. So we're thinking of, and I'm amazed at the level of creativity these children have. They will think of role play themselves and then they will start acting out. And then you're wondering if they're watching TV, they will not be able to do that. They'll think of something. Wow, thank you so much. So we have a question, and it says, where is the place of the Bible saying spare the rod? Okay, I love this question. They would always tell you spare the rod and spoil the child. So where's the place of the rod in parenting?
Okay, so I may be wrong, and this is also subjective, right? I believe that there is the time when you can actually use the rod of discipline on a child, and it is in the first few years of their life. And it is not, there's something my husband used to say about his dad. He said his dad used to beat them, and it was not commensurate with the offense. So when you want to correct a child now, because many times that time their parents used to beat them as if they were thieves. You break a plate, they will beat you like you're an armed robber, right? But if you put the consequence, the what's it called, the offense beside the consequence, you know that when you do this, this is the consequence of what you have done, right? It is easier to now be able to punish a child for what they've done. Oh, you did this, no home, no TV, no screen time for 1 hour. You did this, you will not go and visit your friends. You do this, you will not do that. You don't do your chores, no. I mean, there was a time they will say if you don't wash your plates, no food for you. They'll put it on nylon bag and give it to you. But I'm just saying, put the offense, put the consequence, let them know what it is. And you see that if you want to spank a child, if we look at the Bible like that, you can spank a child because, like they say, foolishness is in a child. It takes the rod of correction to bring it out, right? People go by the Bible. Simply says that yes, you should correct a child like that. I don't like flogging children. I personally, and this is not a general thing to say. So I didn't write a Bible. Some people understand it to say spank the child. I have spanked my son before with my hands. I did. Because I told him to do something. I told him, don't do that. You're climbing that place again, you will fall down. And I spanked him, but after I was done spanking, I went back and I asked myself, because the way he was crying, it was more of, I can't believe you're the one that beats me. So I went back and I had to go and do my own self-reflection. And I asked myself, why did you flog him, spank him like that? And I realized that it was out of fear. I was afraid that he would fall down and break a bone or break his leg or get injured. So it was fear that made me react like that. So you also have to now know what is the reason why you are spanking a child. Are you taking out frustration on the child? Or are you actually trying to correct the child? So when you do that, you will see that you're not beating them as if they've killed somebody. You can spank them. Gentle parenting says that we shouldn't, because these days it's causing a lot of trauma for children. Some children will wake up and they're having tremors or they're having nightmares because of how much they were beaten, right? So, but I personally, I'm not a fan of flogging children. I'm not. If I can spank you too, and remind you that do it again, this is why I did it. But I've never been one that likes to flog a child. I mean, I have sent my son a slap from where I was. I'm watching him, I'm working on my laptop, I'm watching him come down from that place. Okay, mama, I'm not, there's something he does. He'll be jumping on the chair, bouncing on the chair. Kesena, stop jumping. I'm not jumping, mama, I'm hopping. Really? Okay, be hopping. Just fall down first and you understand. And from the hopping, he fell down and landed on his head. When he landed on his head, I was so scared. I couldn't, where do you want to spank when somebody's already in pain? So I just told him, I said, this is why I told you not to jump. And I explained to him in English, will you jump again? No, mama, I'm not jumping again. Oh, wow. Mission accomplished.
He learned his lesson. Yeah, thank you so much, Ma. So we have another question, and it's how can fathers be more open to their emotions? You said the other time that when your son told your husband breathe in, he was like, come on, leave this place, something like that. And most men are like that. So how can we get them to
ego is ego. And this is why we keep saying that, can we have when we have all these parenting conferences, if you notice, it's women that are there. Fathers are hardly in such conferences. But these days I'm seeing that some men are doing conferences like this, and they are making it fathers conference, for Father's Day. They are doing men cave and all those kind of things. When they do such things, they also pitch in parenting. So they bring parenting coaches to also speak in such things. So, another thing that we can do is you model it as the mother. What I know is that connection helps correction. My son he's so connected to me, right? When his father comes and his father is yelling, calm down, do that. And then I just look at him and I say, Kesena, calm down. I promise you he listens to me. He will tell his father, no. But when it's me, he will say, okay, mama. Then he'll come and give you a hug. Because I connected to him, I've corrected him. But you are yelling. They are not hearing your correction. They are hearing your yelling and they are resisting your yelling. So we can have men enter conferences, or you can, model it. If they will not enter a conference, you model it. Now my husband sees that when I talk calmly, he behaves. Guess what? My husband is calm. I'm telling you, when he wants to do some kind of things, he will now look at him and say, Kesena, would you calm down? And he will look at him and say, okay, Papa. Now we understand. And I was going to say something to Mrs. Kure. See, there are different types of children, right? And it's our duty to know the kind of children that we have. There are children that you can flog. There are children that you speak to. And they even feel like you have flogged them with plenty of cane. There are children that so I don't know if you understand what I'm saying. If your child is the one that you just have a conversation with, know that that's the kind of child you have. There is no need to be flogging that kind of child. You will never get through to him. Just have a conversation. Also, now it's up to you to now study the kind of child that you have. Right. Okay.
Oh, thank you very much for that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, Ms. Kure said she has a radio program that focuses on drugs and substance abuse, and she would love to have you come on the show. I'm sure she can go through Ms. Oluwatoyin if she wants to get to
Yes,
you.
please go through her. Yes, thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your wisdom that you shared with us. Thank you so much. Thank you. We're so
Thank you
grateful.
very much.
Right. So I don't think we have any other question for you. You did justice to the topic. Thank you so much. All
Thank
right.
you. Antonio, I can't hear you.
I can hear
Sorry,
you.
I was muted. I said,
Okay.
hello, Mrs. Tegan. How are you doing?
Very well, thank
Thank you
you.
so much for your session. As always, very, very enlightening, and you did a lot of justice to how we can raise emotionally resilient children. And I love the fact that you came in through the angle of emotional intelligence, because a child that is able to manage his emotion, the child will be able to bounce back and go through stuff when things are happening. Thank you so much. So, do you have any book that you'd like us to that you might read? Do you have any book? Do you have any material? I was meant to have
Um,
asked the former speaker too. Because one of the things when we were sent the letter, we're like, if you have books, you could talk about your books. If you have any program, you could talk about your programs.
okay, so I don't have any book right now that we're in print. That is the We Stand Peer Pressure for Parents. We Stand Peer Pressure for Against Drug Use. I have that, but it's not in print. It's not out of print yet. But we'll get it out soon, and I'll let you know when we have it ready.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir. Thanks so much, sis. So let me go back to the background and allow Miss Chantal to finish her.
So
Thank you
thank you.
so much, ma'am. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so wow, how has it been so far? Come on, drop it in the comment section. How are you feeling? I'm sure you've learned a lot. I'm sure your notes are filled. I'm sure you've learned a lot. For those of us who are not practicing gentle parenting as it is yet, we have the opportunity to do that now. Thank you so much, Miss Tega. Okay, so coming up next is our third speaker for today, the our first male speaker for today. That's Mr. Ocheho, thank God, is a psychologist and a mental health specialist with over 14 years of experience in MHPSS. He also works on trauma healing and development programming. He's a doctoral student in humanitarian and development studies and currently leads the psychology and training department at NIM Foundation. He holds a bachelor degree in psychology and a master's in developmental psychology. Yeah. He has trained thousands of frontline workers, health workers, teachers, and community stakeholders in psychological first aid, mental health, and lay counseling. He has led projects funded by the MacArthur Foundation, UNDP, UNICEF, UNFPA, and even the US and French Embassy, and other international donors. Prior to joining the NIM Foundation, he worked as a lecturer at Redeemers University, where he taught psychology courses and conducted research and also published reputable scientific journals. Wow, wow. This is a big fish, right? You would agree with me. Please let's welcome Mr. Thank God Ocheho. I want to believe he's right here with us in the studio. Hello, sir. Okay, so we're waiting for him to join us. What are your expectations for this session? With everything I've read thus far, you can hear UNICEF, you can hear US Embassy, French Embassy, all those embassies. So, what are you expecting from this session? I mean, we've had awesome sessions with Mrs. Omolade and also with Mrs. Tega. Now we're going into this very hot session with Mr. Thank God. What are your expectations? I can still see people saying we had a great session with with Miss Tega. Honestly, I love our session. I love the way she infused practical examples from her son. And even when she started making reference to her niece, she said when her niece was much younger and she went over to their house, she saw her arranging pillows. And you can actually see the relentlessness of that child. The pillows kept falling and the child kept on going back to pick it up. And I wanted to ask her that how is the niece today? I'm sure that attribute, that trait is still in her to today. That doggedness, I'm sure she still has it till today. So I love all the examples she gave, especially of her son. And you remember the time when she said, if a child forgets the notebook at home, what should be your reaction? A typical parent would just hop into the car and look for a way to go and get the book across to the child. But she's saying, no, let the child think. Ask the child, what do you want me to do? How do you want me to help you? How do you want us to rectify this fault? And honestly, that was good. That was really good. All right. Okay. Yeah, so we have Mr. Thank God here. Good evening, sir.
Good
So
evening. Can you hear me?
yes, we can hear you. Yes,
How
we
are you
can hear.
doing?
We're doing great, sir. So good to have you.
Thank you very much.
All right, sir.
Can I start?
Yes, sir. I will hand over to you now. All right. You have
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity. First, I want to appreciate Mrs. Toyin for giving me this opportunity to talk about the role of African culture and values in shaping resilience in children. So, thank you so much for the opportunity. I don't know if the class or the session can be interactive, but I'm just trying to say how I can make it a bit interactive. So I also want to believe that we have some people on the call that we also benefit from the session. So basically, we are talking about the role of African culture and values in shaping resilience or in building resilience in children. And I think this topic is very important because this is one of the missing links when it comes based on research and based on several articles that have been written on resilience, we realize that this area is one of the most important, areas when it comes to building the foundation for children to thrive, especially in terms of adversity. And one of the things I always tell is that I would like to share a story. There is this particular child when I was still teaching in the university. So this student, while she was listening to a particular lecture, we found out that she hardly pay attention to this particular lecturer because we didn't know at first. We thought that, oh, maybe the child was not serious, she was not interested in that particular course. But after several engagements with that child, we found out that that lecturer looked exactly like someone that sexually abused her while she was in secondary school. So anytime the lecturer came to the classroom, she always had like a flashback of that experience. So that really affected her so much that she could not pay attention because memories of that event flooded her mind. So she could not pay attention, and that also began to affect her, performance in her academy. So we realized that there was a missing link because she did not go through the process of healing. She did not go through that process where she's able to bounce back from the experience that she went through in the hand of the lecturer. So it's important for us to understand how powerful resilience is. There are things in life that we cannot control, especially when it comes to external factors. It's difficult for us to be able to control those factors. But one thing that is important that we can control is the internal resources, how we respond to this factor. And it's critical for us to understand this so that we can begin to pay attention to this particular aspect, which is a major and a missing link in our culture. So one of the things I'm going to look at in terms of the structure of my conversation is that we're just going to set the stage to introduce the concept of resilience, what resilience is about, why this concept matters in the African context that we live in. Why do we think resilience matters in our context? And we're also going to be looking at African culture and values, that there are certain things within our culture, because our culture is not entirely bad. Just the same way, because you have people who are ashamed to associate with us as African. You have people when they get to another climb, another culture, they tend to abandon or throw away their culture. But we'll look at the things in our culture that can help us to shape resilience in children. And we also need to understand what parents, educators, caregivers can do to help nurture that resilience, and the things they often overlook. And we're going to talk about one or two practical activities that we can engage in to help us build resilience in children. And this conversation is very important. Why is it important? Is because there is a professor in Harvard called Professor Carol Dweck. He talked about the fixed mindset and the growth mindset. He tried to compare these two mindsets in terms of how it affects our life, even in even when we become adults and later in life. That one of the most important thing we can do is to help children to have the growth mindset. The growth mindset says that success in life is a function of effort and hard work, not necessarily talent. He said because there are a lot of talented people who are not successful. He said once you help children to have that mindset, that even if they fail, they need to work on putting more effort in whatever they are doing, commitment, hard work. The moment they have that mindset, he said they will begin to make progress. But if they don't have that mindset, if they think that, oh, they are too talented, that's the reason why they are making some level of progress. He said the day that they will fail, they will get into depression. They will begin to doubt themselves and their ability because of the fixed mindset, thinking that they are smart. That is why they are getting that level of success. And this has happened before. I had a student like that some years ago. She was an A student, always had A in all her courses. But the moment she had a B, she swung into depression because she felt that this is not a talent. This is not who she is. Instead of her to have pay attention to progress, to pay attention, oh, maybe the reason I had a B is because I didn't put more effort. So I need to improve the effort in which I put into my work, into what I do. He says, so it's important for us to have that mindset. The reason why that is important is because of challenges is part of life. Children are going to face challenges. The moment they are born, they keep facing challenges. In fact, if you are born in an African context, there are a lot of challenges children are going to face. And one of the things that will help is when we are able to build resilience in them, when we are able to help them to develop resilience so that in the midst of challenges, they're able to bounce back, they're able to adapt, they're able to grow and thrive even in the midst of adversity, because adversity is critical. Even the Bible says that if you faint in the days of adversity, say your strength is little. The word strength there is talking about resilience. He said your resilience is little because resilience is a spectrum. Some people have it low, some have it high, but it's something we grow over time. Nobody is born with resilience. But as we keep nurturing it, we keep growing it, it helps to be able to develop that resilience even in children. So it's critical for us to have that understanding and help us to build tenacity. That's another word when we talk about resilience, to build that tenacity. So when you think of resilience in your child, what comes to your mind? Is it toughness that comes to your mind? Is it determination that comes to your mind? Is it tenacity or being tenacious? Or what comes to your mind when you think about resilience in your child? Because it's also very important for us to have that understanding that we are raising children and we want to raise children that will be resilient. And that is why we must allow them face some level of challenges. Because in fact, by design and by default, challenges are integrated into their programming. Challenges are integrated into what we do, into the developmental stages of their lives. The process of even trying to walk is already a challenge. The process of trying to talk is already a challenge. For some, it doesn't come naturally. They learn through that process. And as they begin to put in the effort to learn, we need to create the environment for them to try, for them to be able to fail and bounce back, fail, stand up until they are able to master the process. And they grow into that because that is very important. Most people don't grow into success, they just want to get it. And that's why you see for children, we don't need to incorporate a system that make them to look for shortcut. We must be able to create a system that help them to grow through that process. So resilience is very, very important. Like I mentioned earlier, I don't know if I can have conversation, if people can respond to some of the question I'm asking. I don't know if I can do that. Hello.
So I didn't get the last question.
I was asking, can this conversation be interactive? Can I ask questions? Can people respond?
Oh yes, you can ask questions. And we have people in the chat box that are typing answers there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay then.
I hope I'll be able to see the chat box.
I'll read them out,
Because
don't worry.
okay, so I was asking, what comes to your mind when you think about the word resilience? What comes to your mind as an African parent or African teacher or educator or someone who work with children? What comes to your mind when you hear the word resilience? So while I wait for the response, I think there are different words that we can use to describe the
Can you
concept
hear
of
me? Can you hear
resilience.
me? Okay, sorry, I was actually talking. Somebody
Okay,
says pushing boundaries.
pushing
So pushing
boundaries.
boundaries comes to mind. Another person says
Okay,
doggedness. Another person says
doggedness,
forbearance.
forbearance.
Yeah. So we have
Okay, thank
three.
you very much.
Somebody said ability to forge ahead and bounce back.
Ability to forge ahead and bounce back. Thank you very much. So there are different concepts, there are different words we can use to describe the concept of resilience. But you see, one of the things I want you to also understand is that resilience is not just bouncing back. Yes, bouncing back is part of it, but resilience is not just bouncing back, but it's the ability to adapt. So you are able to adapt in the midst of challenges when you are faced with difficult situations. You are able to adapt. But beyond adapting, resilience is the ability to grow. Because some people go through resilience, but they are not growing in the process. You see them, they just stay faced with challenges. They are not learning anything. They are not growing. They are just there. And it's also the ability to thrive post adversity. That means after the challenge, after the adversity, are you able to thrive? Are you able to say, oh, I have learned from this? I have made progress. My life has become better as a result of this experience that I've gone through, because that is what resilience should be able to do for us. We need to help our children to understand that once they are faced with adversity, once they are faced with challenges, the essence is that they should see challenges as an opportunity to grow, as an opportunity for them to adapt to situation, and also as an opportunity for them to become better in whatever they are doing. And it's very important for us to have that, because once we have that, it helps us to be able to strengthen their resolve. It helps them to be able to see challenges as an opportunity and not just a stumbling block or a barrier that will stop them from making progress in life. So resilience is key, is very important. There is no doubt about that. And that's why I love this particular concept, or this topic in this conference, talking about the need for us to build resilience in children. Because why we need to emphasize this is that Like I said earlier, that resilience is not a gift. Nobody is born with resilience. Resilience is cultivated over time. Yes, some people might be predisposed to having to developing resilience, but they will need to cultivate it. It's something that we need to learn, and we'll learn it through challenges. We'll learn resilience through tough time. We'll learn it through difficult situation, because it is when you are faced with that situation, you've come out of it, you can tell yourself that yes, your level of faith and level of result has been built because of what you've gone through. That you have fallen several times, but you rise again so that you can face the challenges of life. And resilience is very important, especially in our context in Africa. Why is this important? Because we often face unique challenges. There are poverty in the land. That in itself can help people to build resilience. You've seen people who came from a poor background and they told themselves that they are going to ensure that they don't remain poor. They go through that difficult moment, through that poverty, and today most of them are successful. Research has proven, based on research, that most great men in life, hardly will you see their children do better than them. The reason is because some of them get so comfortable, get so used to the status quo, or probably they got everything, on a platter of gold, that their resilience level was not built and it was just there for them. Insecurity also is one of the challenges we face in our society. And that in itself, we find it difficult for us to be able to, that is why resilience is important for us, because there are a lot of insecurity we face in our society. So we need to be able to build resilience in children, especially my experience working in the north. I've been working in the north for many years, where you have a lot of conflict, Boko Haram conflict, the ISWAP conflict. You now have the bandit activities going on. You have the farmer elder crisis. A lot of children have gone through adversity. I've seen children whose parents have been killed in their presence, slaughtering their parent into pieces. How do you tell that kind of child, to be able to build resilience? How do you tell that kind of child not to be traumatized? You understand? I've seen a child who the only reason he was saving money was to buy gun so that he can kill all those that kill his parents, because it was in his presence that they kill his parents. I've seen children who want to go into the army, not because they love army or military, but because they want to join soldiers so that they can kill all those that kill their parents. Soldier, army work or the military work is a noble task, but the intention was wrong, because that was the only reason that they want to become a military personnel. Why? Because of the things that they have gone through. So you see insecurity in our land. We need to build resilience in people, because some of these things, some people might find it difficult to control that situation. And if they find it difficult to control it, there is no way that they can be able to, face that the challenges they are going through, because they've not built that level of resilience. A lot of children are displaced. And the things that happen, especially in IDP camps, are a lot, that if children resilience are not built, some of them can die in the process. Why do you think people think of committing suicide? It's because of situation like this, when resilience is not built in people. They get to the point where there's no longer hope. They don't, have hope again. They don't see anything. They are no longer seeing the bright future. They are no longer seeing anything. So they just tell themselves that the life is not worth living. Let me just take my life. You understand? So there's also family instability. And that is why we need resilience in our context. There are a lot of challenges that we need to help children to build resilience. The reason why I'm saying this is because most times we wait for challenges to come before we start building resilience in children. That is why when we design intervention for children, around building resilience, most time we design that intervention for children who have gone through challenges, and now we are trying to build our resilience after the challenges. But prevention, like it's popularly said, is better than cure. So what we start doing now is to design intervention that helps children resilience to be built before they are faced with challenges. So what I'm saying to you parents, educators, and caregivers today is that don't wait until your child has gone through challenges. Don't wait until your child has gone through difficult time before you start building resilience in them. In fact, from day one, the moment the child is born, we need to start cultivating resilience in our children. There are many challenges, like I said, in our context in Africa. Yet, many people grow up to be resourceful. despite these challenges. We've had adults who went through a lot of challenges, and yet they've grown up to be resourceful. They've grown up to become hopeful, and they are socially connected. So there are so many things that are embedded in our African culture and system that help to build resilience naturally. It just comes naturally, and that is the truth, because we have so many things that we have ignored. For some of us, we don't even take it as important because we are trying to value the Western culture. We are trying to place more important to the Western culture that a lot of us are ashamed, or we have even neglected our own culture. Please, I'm here to encourage us and to say to us that we need to look at the culture that we have, the values that we have as African, and begin to make use of those values so that we can use it to build, or use them to build resilience in our children. Resilience is very important. Trust me. There is this research that was done by Angela Duckworth. Angela Duckworth is an expert when it comes to talk about grit. Grit means resilience. It means perseverance. It means, determination. She did a lot of research. There was a time she conducted interview for people, successful people, talented people in different fields, like Will Smith and the like. He found out after her research, she concluded that one of the things, or the main thing that make people successful, based on the interview she did for successful people, that the main thing that make them become successful is grit, is resilience, and not talent. He said that you can be a talented person, but if you don't have resilience, once you are faced with challenges, you give up easily. And the truth is that once you are able to give up easily, there's no way you can move on to achieve success. He said, but those who make success in life are those who are able to face adversity, are those who are able to say, yes, I've fallen, I've made mistake, I have failed, but I'm going to bounce back. I'm going to continue to put in effort until I'm able to make success out of the things that I have done. So it's important for us to have this understanding. It's important for us to understand that resilience is key, and we'll start shaping resilience in our children. We'll start cultivating it from cradle, from the day that they are born, so that as they begin to grow, once they are confronted with challenges of life, they can begin to build, recover, they can adapt and begin to thrive, even though they have faced challenges. Within our African culture and the context, there are culture that we have, there are values that we have that we can use to nurture resilience in children. And one of it I want to talk about is communalism. Communalism. When I talk about communalism, I'm talking about that community lifestyle that we have in Africa. I've been to other climes, I've seen in some Western countries, most people live by themselves. A lot of people are isolated. That culture of communalism is not there. You hardly see people doing things together. In fact, most people are even suspicious of you. But in Africa, we have that communalism culture that says, I am because we are. I am because we are. We talk about the Ubuntu culture, in South Africa, which is also a kind of African culture. So African society are built on collective identity, and it's very important. It is built on collective identity. It is built on shared responsibility. It is also built on belonging. That culture, that communalism is key in building resilience. Once you have support system, you have community, you have people around, you have that shared responsibility, it helps you to nurture resilience in your children. So we must put children in communities, we must put them in clubs, we must put them in environments where they can interact, where they can relate, where they can network, where they can socialize with other kids. This gives children a strong sense of security. Why? Knowing that they are supported beyond the nuclear family, knowing that beyond their parents, beyond their siblings, they have other communities, other places that they can engage, they can negotiate. For instance, in the Hausa community or in the Yoruba community, a child can be corrected. Even in the Igbo community, a child can be corrected, a child can be mentored and supported even by any adult, not necessarily by their immediate family. I know sometimes we are trying to now imitate Western culture, that you see when your child is corrected by an adult, a lot of parents begin to frown at it. I'm not talking of when the child is abused. That is a different thing entirely. I'm talking about when the child is corrected. You see some parents frown at it. Don't correct my child. Don't discipline my child. Don't, rebuke my child. I'm not talking of when it is done, in a way that threaten the child, or when we shame the child. That's not the kind of correction I'm talking about. I'm talking about the correction that people do, because we have this concept when we say take a village to raise a child. So this collective care helps to build trust. It helps to build emotional safety and accountability in children. But the moment we begin to neglect it, it becomes a major issue in building resilience in our children. So I think it's important for us to pay attention to this in Africa, so that we value this culture that we have, this culture of communalism. Many modern parents have unintentionally beginning to isolate their children from the wider community structure that we have. We don't even need to start creating. Look at the way African culture is integrated or is instituted. You realize that it's instituted in a way that the culture, the community network is already there. There is already the existing community structure, existing community network that we just need to integrate our children into. So due to the urban living now, where we have a lot of estate coming up, the way our buildings are structured now, you can be living in a building, in a compound with somebody for years. You've not even seen the person. Your children have not even seen their children. We will find it difficult to associate or to relate. I know, of course, some of us are conscious about insecurity. Of course, I'm not saying we shouldn't be cautious. I'm not saying we shouldn't be careful. I'm just saying that we need to integrate them into community where we can also begin to manage or begin to supervise them. So due to this urban living, the way this the urban setting is structured right now, there is that fear of judgment, but connection is important. I'm not talking of control. Connection, relationship, which is the psychological need of every human being. If you look at the theory of motivation that was developed by Rand and Dyson, that talk about 3 psychological needs of every human being. One of it is the need for relatedness. You say every human being want to feel love. Every human being want to have that sense of belonging. So it's important for us to integrate our children into community structure, into existing community network. It helps them to build resilience. So it's important for us to encourage our children to form relationships. It's important for us to encourage them to form relationships with extended family, with neighbors, with mentors, with religious leaders who model positive behavior. I'm not just saying because they need to form relationship, we just put them anywhere that they begin to influence them and they begin to cultivate negative behavior. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm saying there are still people that we model positive behavior around, that we can help our children to play with them, to relate with them, and to connect with them. Another thing in our African culture, before I share the second point, I want to hear from us. What are those things we have in Africa that we think can help to build resilience in our children? I'd like to hear our thoughts. I've mentioned one, which is communalism, the collective identity, the shared responsibility. What are other things you think, that can help to build resilience in our children? I'm listening.
Faith.
Faith, thank you very much. Very important point. Faith.
So it says culture.
Culture. Okay, culture is broad. Is there a way we can be specific about it?
We're waiting.
Is that what?
I said we're waiting for others to drop
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So faith is one of them.
Someone says appreciating efforts and not just the results.
Appreciating effort and not just the result. Thank you very much. So I think we need to beginning to think deeply, because trust me, one of the things I've come to realize, especially in African and among African parents, is the fact that we tend not to place so much value on our culture. And the reason, because we don't place so much value on our culture, we also don't tend to think deep about what we have. We are always interested in looking outside. We are so interested in looking at what is in the other context that we don't really pay attention to what we have within our content. That's why some of us, people ask, name 5 things within our culture that can help to build resilience. Some of us might struggle with it. We might even find it difficult to be able to answer, because another thing again is that the white has made us to feel less of our culture, less of ourselves, and less of our identity. They have made us to feel that whatever comes from them is superior to what we have. So gradually, we're beginning to throw away the culture, the things that we have that have helped us over time. So it's important for us to look at that. I've mentioned one. We need to build a system. Some of us can create. This is an idea I'm giving to us. We can go there, create system, create product, create services that can help children to build that collective identity, that can help for shared responsibility, that can help for connection, for socialization, because it's very important. Another thing within our culture that can help to build resilience is storytelling and proverbs. We have a lot of storytellings, a lot of proverbs in Africa that we tend to have neglected. This is emotional wisdom in oral traditions. We have all of these. African folk tales, African proverb is not just an entertainment. Beyond the entertaining aspect, they are psychological tools for meaning making. I'm currently doing a research with an organization that focus on how children between 3 to 8 years make sense of the things they watch in media. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, as young as 3 years old, children already begin to understand and make sense of things that they see. So those storytelling is very important. Those storytellings and proverbs are very important. We cannot afford to throw these things away. Those days, I don't know if it's still existing now, we used to watch Tales by Moonlight, that they teach us about different values, different culture. We need to have storybook, even in our school, where we'll be reading storybook like Ali, Sanda, Simbi, Eze go to school, all of those things. From there, we get some information. We might see, it's just reading, or we are just building our vocabulary. But beyond building your vocabulary, these storytellings and proverbs are psychological tools for meaning making. Because when they are faced with challenges, they remember some of these proverbs. These storytellings and proverbs help children understand courage, because for some of those stories, they depict courage. It helps them to understand patience. It helps them to understand failure. It helps them to understand persistence in a culturally grounded way. And all of these things I just mentioned are needed for resilience to be built in them. You cannot say you have resilience without having patience. You cannot talk about resilience without courage. You can't talk about resilience without failure and persistence. So we need to bring back all of these, storytelling, all of these proverb that we used to tell our children. When last do you sit down with your children to tell them a story? Tell them about your experiences. Tell them about the story that you've gone through in life, and teach them about certain lessons, because storytelling is very critical. And everybody, is interested in story. When you start sharing story, people want to hear. You call your children together and say, story, story, story. So the proverb, for instance, there is the proverb that says the child who is not embraced by the village will burn it down to feel it warm. This teaches belonging. It teaches empathy. You understand? So if you look at in Ghana, there's a story that is told by the Anase. In Ghana, it teaches children how wit and creativity can overcome difficulty. That through wit, through creativity, you are able to overcome difficulty. And there's a research that was conducted in 2013 by Onga. It talked about that studies have shown that storytelling help to enhance cognitive flexibility, emotional regulation, as well as empathy. That the more you tell story, the more you help to nurture and cultivate empathy in children, the more you help to cultivate emotional regulation as well as cognitive flexibility. And this is an aspect many parents have overlooked in Africa. Many parents have replaced storytelling with screen time. Yes, I'm not totally against screen time, but it's also important for that human connection with you, that you are sharing story with your child. That touch, that connection, that facial expression that they see you express is critical, but storytelling will help them to process adversity through imagination and values. When you are sharing stories, you are also helping them to process, adversity. So use storytelling to discuss real life challenges with children. Tell them about real life challenges. Teach them about the lessons in the story. What will you do if you were faced in this situation? Like the Adolescent story in Ghana. Once you've shared the story with them, you want them to know, what will you do? You want to hear their thought, because trust me, like I said, from as young as 3 years old, they can make sense of what they see, what they hear, and what they watch. You understand? So it's important for us to understand the value of storytelling and proverbs in African culture. Another critical thing that we have going for us in Africa, although we have taken it to extreme, but it's also critical for resilient building that we can nurture in our children, is spirituality and faith. Very, very, very important. I know people say that we are a religious set of people. No, African is so religious and all of that. Yes, faith is critical. I'm not talking of really kind of religion that is fear based. I'm not talking of religion that is need based, that we only go to God because of what we need. I'm talking of religion that is relationship based, that we believe that we have a superior being, we have an anchor that we can stretch our faith towards in the midst of challenges, in the midst of difficult times, and it keeps us going to be able to face those challenges. So across Africa, spirituality is central to how communities make sense of suffering and hope. How we make sense of adversity, a lot of the time, comes from our religious interpretation. It offers children a framework for meaning. That is why it's key. We need to teach them certain things in our faith, whether you're a Muslim or you're a Christian or you're a traditional person. We need to teach them certain things in our faith, because that becomes the framework for meaning, for hope and for moral guiding or grounding, so that as they are faced with challenges, they remember that scriptures, they remember that sermon, they remember that thing that have taught them in their faith. So it's important for us to have this at the back of our mind. There is something that they always say in the north. I might not be able to speak it very well if you're from the north, but they say that Allah Baya Bari Banwasa, which means God cannot or never abandon his servant. This statement alone, people face, when you are faced with adversity and you remember that this, statement, God cannot or never abandon his servant, it keeps you going, because you keep telling yourself that God has not abandoned you. So such belief anchor resilience, reduce hopelessness, and after a loss or after a failure, because you keep going. There is one thing you cannot afford to lose, and that is hope. I'm going to come back to that. That's what I'm going to use to round up. One thing you must never lose if you must build resilience in your children, you must never allow them one day not to have hope. Hope is a currency. Hope is critical. Hope is very, very important. So many parents sometimes separate faiths. They tend to separate faith from emotional health. They tend to forget that spiritual practices like prayer, like songs that we sing, certain rituals, gives children emotional language and comfort, so that when they are faced with challenges, because of certain songs that they have sing, those songs comes to their mind. It gives them strength again, because that's what they need. They need strength in the midst of adversity. They need strength. We must nurture them with song. We must nurture them with some key prayers, prayer points, so that they can build their language, their spirituality in terms of their vocabulary and the comfort it gives them when they are faced with challenges. So encourage age appropriate faith practices. Is it gratitude? Is it prayer? Is it reflection? I'm not talking of fear-based obedience, that they do things because they are afraid, not because they are convinced, or not because they know the importance. They should do it because they know that it's important. They should be able to do it because they are hopeful that doing it will help to be able to transform their life. Another very important thing that we have within our culture going for us is respect and responsibility. This helps to build what we call the internal locus of control. African values emphasize respect for elders, especially self-discipline and responsibility. These are very, very important. Respect for elders can help to build resilience. Self-discipline can also help, as well as responsibility. It's important for you to teach your children that their action have consequences and then play a role in solving their problem. How do you teach them that? When you start teaching them responsibility, they need to know that their action have that every action that they express has consequences. So teach them from the young age. Don't allow them to some people, because of the trauma they have gone through, and most of them is just trauma response. Because of the trauma they have gone through, a lot of them tends not to want to allow their children to go through challenges. They don't want to allow their children to go through suffering. So most time when their child is going through challenges, they want to help the child to do everything. They don't want to allow their child to. I've seen parents who overindulge their children because of what they went through. So for some of them, it's a trauma response. They're already responding to from the place of trauma, not because they are trying to be caring or because they love that child so much. Giving a child responsibility is not a form of aid. It's also part of love, because you are allowing the child to take responsibility. As little as helping you to pick your shoe from the shoe rack, helping you to fetch water, helping you to do the house chore, helping you to care for your siblings. All these things are very important. They teach the child resilience. These are responsibilities that help the child to be able to build resilience. A research that was done by UNICEF in 2021 found that children who take on, age-appropriate responsibility early in life are more likely to develop problem-solving skills and confidence. That if you allow children to take responsibility early in life, they are more likely to build responsibility in them as well as confidence. And you see, these things are very important for success in life. You see a lot of adults who cannot take responsibility, a lot of adults who don't have confidence. If we trace it back, it's possible that growing up, their confidence was, shattered and stifled, maybe because they never believe in them. They always want them to do, they always do things for them. So they become so dependent on their parent to do everything for them. So modern parenting sometimes, equate comfort with care. That I need to take care of my child so that my child can be comfortable. So they are shading them from struggle. As little as your child is trying to do something or pick up something and they are struggling, as little as that some of us quickly go and help them to pick it up. You are not helping them to build resilience. Let them struggle while you are there. As long as you are there supervising, I'm not saying leave them alone, because you can leave them alone and they hurt in the process. That's not what I'm talking about. As long as you are there, let them go through it. Don't just be quick to help them to do every little thing. You are not going to help them to build resilience. But moderate responsibility is important. Because it helps to build capability in them, and it helps to build their emotional strength. So my encouragement to every parent is to assign meaningful household or community tasks and appreciate effort, not just what the result, like somebody said earlier on. And the last but not the least, cultural values we can build in our children, or we can allow our children to express or to cultivate so that they can build resilience, is humor, music, and celebration. I know we say, African, we do a lot of celebration, entertainment, and all of that. It's part of our culture. Yes, I'm not saying we should spend all our time doing all of that, because of course there are practical things, important initiatives, important things that we need to do to help us to develop as a nation. But this is important in our culture. That is why you see comedy thrive here, music thrive here, party thrive here, celebration thrive here. All these things are important, but also we should not take it to the extreme. There must always be a balance. African community use laughter, song, and dance to process their pain collectively. So many people are going through pain. They go to maybe a party, or they go to a program where they can sing to process their pain, to express their emotions. This build resilience because it helps to create that sheer emotional outlets, and optimism. People, because you see, we have a lot of programs, systems in Nigeria that help people to be able to express their pain, help them to feel relief. That is why you see people, maybe that's why we keep going. They say Nigerians are a resilient set of people, and even Africans say they are a resilient set of people. People are faced with challenges, so we need all of those things to be able to help them. We often overlook, or we often view fun as a distraction, but the truth is that, but culturally, joy is resistance. Why? It's a reminder that life is bigger than the problem. So we need to go and enjoy ourselves. Let's include humor. Let's include music. Let's include play in family life. It's part of it. It's therapy in disguise. You might not know, but it's therapy in disguise. When you take your children to have fun, to enjoy, even in the midst of adversity, it is therapy in disguise, because you are creating a system where is an outlet for them to express their pain, to process their pain, and to also express their emotion. As I begin to round up, it's important for African parents to understand that there are certain things we often overlook. One, children need roots. Children need roots as much as they need wing. Any building that the foundation is not solid, it's just a matter of time. Any tree that the root is not strong, it's just a matter of time to collapse. What children need early in life, at the early stage of their development, one important thing that they need, or two important things that they need. Let me say one because this one is connected to the other one, is resilience. Resilience is a foundation. The first one I wanted to talk about is relationship. But once you have relationship with them, you also help them to build resilience. But resilience is key, is the foundation, is the root. It's not just enough for you to be focusing on the wing. Because if they have wing and they don't have root, once they are faced with challenges, it's like a plane that is flying and there is the storm. If the plane is not strong enough, if the thing that holds the plane in the air is not strong enough, it's just a matter of time the plane will crash. You understand? So strong cultural identity build emotional security. We need to build that root in children, which is what resilience. Another thing we need to understand is that, which parents often overlook, is that overprotection weakens resilience. And I will say this over and over and over again. Overprotection. When you are overprotecting your child, yes, it's good to protect them once, but once your protection is to the extreme, it will weaken resilience in them. Let children face manageable challenges. Look at that word. Let them face manageable challenges. Don't just give them challenges that is too big for them. Let them face manageable challenges. Not everything you will be doing for them. It will never help them to build resilience. Oh, I'm protecting my child. I suffer. I don't want them to suffer. I go through this. I don't want them to go through this. And as a result of that, we'll begin to weaken resilience in our children. So resilience is collective. It's not something that individual can do alone. We need the family, we need the school, we need the community to work together to build resilience in our children. Now, as I round up, I want us to picture a tree. A tree has a root, it has branches, and it has trunk. I want us to picture it very well. Just imagine a tree. Imagine a tree. I want you to imagine a tree. In your imagination of a tree, let's look at the branches. The branches are that external factors, external things that give or that can give your child strength and resilience. So who can measure some of those external factors that can build resilience in children? I think my time is getting close. How many minutes do I have left before question and answer?
Between 4 to 5 minutes, sir.
I have 4 to 5 minutes left. Okay. So I would like to hear from us, what are those things that can help to build resilience in children that are external, that is external factors?
Yeah, so please drop your answers in the comment section. What are those things that can help us to build resilience in our children? What are those things? I would say maybe encourage them to take risks. Because I remember growing up, my dad hated taking, for a female child, he felt you shouldn't take risks. Your life should be predictable. Go to school, leave school, get a job, get married, you know. And for a very long time, I couldn't take risks. So I had to learn and unlearn everything I learned while I was much younger. So I think helping our children to take risks, just like you said, manageable challenges. For instance, if you're in most primary schools now, they contest for maybe class president or something. You can advise your child to put in for it. Like, oh, you can do that, just to be able to build confidence in them. And if they don't win, they will learn something.
I agree with you on that. Thank you very much. Is there any other comments? Taking risks is critical. Is there any other comment on that?
All right. So I'm looking through. Please kindly drop your comment. How do you think parents can help their children to build resilience? Okay. It says, someone says, teach them to problem solve. Teach them
Problem
to
solved. Okay.
okay. Um, yeah, and another person says, thank you so much, Mr. Thank God. Parents should encourage problem solving skills very early. We shouldn't wait until when they're older, very early.
Okay, thank you very much. So there are external factors that which is like I said earlier on, let's picture a tree. So the tree has the roots, it has the branches and it also has the trunk. So for the branches, there are external factors. What gives your child strength externally? So we have, like people have said, opportunity to solve problems, opportunity to take risks. These are external. We also have families. That support system is key. Expose them to your immediate family and also families that can help that can support them in times of need. You have friends, because social capital is very key, it's very important. So you have friends, the neighborhood. Yes, I know we have to be cautious because of the kind of environment we live in, but also not everybody within our neighborhood or everybody within our family is bad. So we must be able to see how we help them to be able to do that. So that's the external factor. But there's also the internal factor that help to build resilience, and that's the roots. The external, we can see the branches, but most times, apart from the roots, that most times the roots are not easily seen, you know, and that is the external factor, because every child has strength in them, traits in them that can also help to build resilience. We need to be able to nurture that. For some children, they have the capacity to be patient, not because they were taught, but it's just a trait in them. For some of them, they have that capacity to be compassionate. All of these traits are important in building resilience. So we must identify and begin to nurture. You understand? We need to begin to nurture those internal strengths, the internal factor that is still in a raw form but need to be nurtured so that resilience can be built. So we need that internal, and we also need the trunk. The trunk is hope. The trunk is aspiration. Let me tell you this: the combination of the three will help a child to be very resilient. When we combine these three things I just mentioned, the branches, the root, and the trunk, the branches, the external, the roots, the internal, and the trunk, which is your hope. Now, in resilience, one of the things you must never allow your child to lose is hope. Once there is no longer hope, that's where people start thinking of suicide. Suicidal ideation start coming in because they no longer have hope of the future anymore. They are not seeing anything bright. That's why they say hope. That is, we must have hope, and we must imbue hope in our children. I repeat, hope is a currency. It's something that we must never neglect. It's a currency. We need hope. The moment a child does not have hope in the midst of adversity, then it becomes a problem. They must have goals. So telling themselves that I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, that is hope. That in the midst of these challenges, I can see something better. That is hope. So they are seeing beyond the current challenges that they are going through. We must have it. You understand? So the joy was set. The reason why, for those of us who are Christian, there's this place where you said, for the joy that was set before him, he endured the cross. So why could he endure the cross? Because there was a joy that was set. So when you are facing challenges, we must teach our children that they must never lose hope. Hope is very critical. It's a currency. You understand that whatever the adversity, whatever the challenges, we must see the light at the end of the tunnel. So that hope aspect is the trunk. And we must also look within. What do I have internally that can keep me going in the midst of challenges? We must shape this also in our children. We must teach them to look within. Most time it is easy for us to look outside, external factor, because there are situations you might never have anybody around you that will support you. There are situations where people around you
they don't help to build resilience. They always weaken your resilience level. People around you are very toxic. Some people can find themselves in that situation. So it's not every time you have people that will support you. But at that point in time, that is why the internal factor is very key. So you look within. What do I have that I can put together to build resilience, even if I don't have the external support? So we must also teach them that. And of course, hope is not something you generate alone from the outside. Must first come from within. You must have hope. Hope is key. Hope is important. As I begin to round up with this last activity, I want to ask you one question. What proverb in your local dialect or in your language that helps to give you hope or to build resilience? Who want to share? What proverb in your local dialect, in your language, that gives you hope?
Well, that's a
That
very
when you,
interesting question.
yeah, because a lot of us tend to neglect this thing. That's why I say most time we neglect our culture so much that we feel so inferior about our culture, that we are so interested in the Western culture, that we don't know that we have so many things in our culture that can help us to build resilience and become
I think
successful.
in I think in Yoruba culture we have, once there is life, there is hope.
Emi bawa ireti nbe.
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you say it in Yoruba?
Tí ẹ̀mí bá wà ìrètí ń bẹ.
That means when there is life, there is hope. Very important.
Yes.
So you imagine you having that kind of proverb and you believe in it so much that when there is life, there is hope. When you are faced with challenges, that is what will keep coming to your mind. And it keeps you going because it's helping you to make meaning of the suffering. That is just a matter of time. That as long as I have life, there is hope. That this situation I'm going through is just temporary. This situation I'm going through is not permanent. Anyone else?
Yeah. Another one that comes to mind is he who stays to the hand will be celebrated or something like that. And tó bá forí ti dópin là á gbàlà. That you can only be saved from the orders of life when you have forbearance, when you stay to the hand.
Mm. You can only be saved from the orders of life when you stay till the end. And they say it's whoever that
Yes.
stays in the end that will be safe. And that is the principle.
Exactly.
When you stay in the end, that will be safe. You understand? So it's important for us to have this understanding too and how it works. I want us to keep thinking about this. We have so many things, so many rich core and values. Our culture is so rich that we need even, in fact, we need to even start innovating things in this aspect for our children. Look at our culture. What can we innovate? What can we create? Is it in the form of book? Is it knowledge products? Is it services? Is it environment? Is it, whatever? That people come, they begin to appreciate our African culture because of the things that we have created.
Yes, sir. I agree with you, sir. Think we need to go back to our roots. It's
Yeah.
it's good to be influenced by the Western culture and everything, but our culture, we have a lot of values inherent in our culture. We need to start paying attention to them. Thank you so much, sir, for your time. Thank you for your
Yeah.
wisdom. Thank you for your knowledge that you shared with us today. I mean, quite a lot. I just can't stop thinking that you don't just help your child to grow wings, you help them to grow roots downward, because that's what we do most times. So is my child good in maths, good in English? I want them to become this, to become that. But how about those values? How about their morals? How about the roots? I just kept on thinking about that. And also when you said that resilience is not something we're born with, it's something that we have to learn through experience. So no, the greatest people today with the toughest grit and doggedness and everything, they learned it. And you also said that a lot of parents do the service to their children by helping them to do everything they think is love, but you're actually killing that child. Thank you so much, sir. We're so grateful. Thank you,
Thank
thank you,
you.
thank you so much. All right, do we have any question for him before he leaves? I know you really did justice to the topic. You really explained and gave a lot of, examples. But if you have a question, please drop it in the comment section before we move on quickly to the last speaker for today. Any question or any departing word? Do you have anything to say to Mr. Thank God? If you want to appreciate him, you want to thank him for his wisdom, thank him for his time, you can also drop that in the comment section. All right. How has it been so far? How has it been? I mean, we've been drinking good. We've been drinking good from these streams of knowledge, right? Right from Miss Omolara to Mrs. Stega and now to Mr. Thank God. And if you notice, there's kind of a correlation between everything they're talking about. Miss Omolara also talked about culture, faith, religion, right? And then Mrs. Tega went deeper. It was like when we talk about it takes two highs. There's this Yoruba proverb that says it takes two highs to birth a child, but it takes like 20 to raise the child. Like your community is very, very important. And that's also part of culture. She said, even when you want to tell your child something and they're not listening to you, go through that auntie, go through that uncle. That is culture. That's what our culture teaches us, that you can't do it alone. Everybody needs to come together, to parent your child. All right. Okay. So the lighting coaching says, thank you, sir, for your wisdom. We're so grateful. Thank you, Mr. Thank God for the impactful session. All right. Awesome. 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 Okay. So I think we can move on now to our next speaker. I want to believe our next speaker is in the studio already. So I want to introduce us to our next speaker, who also happens to be the last speaker for today. Our next speaker is Mrs. Eunice Ijoma Chinedu Unwigwe, often called Auntie AJ, right? So she's a certified mental health and addiction counselor, a teen mentor, and a trauma healing facilitator, passionately committed to the emotional, spiritual, and psychosocial well-being of children, adolescents, and families. She's the founder of the Eunice Ijoma Chinedu Unwigwe Foundation, a faith-rooted organization providing mental health support, life skills coaching, abuse prevention training, and Christian discipleship for the next generation. Eunice is the convener of the Gathering of Eagles, an annual movement that disciples and empowers children, teens, and young adults to rise as leaders and light bearers in a dark world. Our reach continues monthly through the Eagle Forge Discipleship Hub, which equips preteens, teens, youths, and their parents with practical faith, identity, and purpose tools. She's the visionary behind the EICN Wellness Program, offering counseling, trauma recovery, and tailored wellness programs for adolescents, families, and schools. She's currently developing a transformative wellness programs for educators designed to support the mental and emotional resilience of teachers and school leaders. She hosts a mental health podcast to help individuals with self-awareness and social intelligence. She's known affectionately as Mother of Nations. Miss Eunice also creates safe spaces for female ministers and pastors' wives through monthly soul care sessions that addresses the unique emotional and spiritual struggles of women in ministry. Wow, wow, such an impressive bio. Please let's welcome Mrs. Eunice Ijoma Chinedu Uwigwe, who is fondly called Auntie AJ. Awesome. Nice to have you here, Ma. Good evening.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me here this evening.
Awesome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I'm
All
so
right, Ma. So
grateful.
the floor is yours.
All right. Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Good evening. I've been following so keenly to hear from every of the speakers today. And in fact, I can say at this point we should close. We are done for the day because it's been so enlightening. So I'll just add one or two things or more to what they have said. Thank you so much, Auntie Tony, for always being there. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for inviting me. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak with these. In fact, the speakers, the last speaker is actually my mentor. So to be speaking on the same platform is a privilege, and I do not take it for granted. Thank you so much, Auntie Toyin. And thank you everyone who has joined from yesterday to today. Don't forget that tomorrow is another day. Anyway, today I'm going to be talking about the power of connection, how relationships, strengthen mental and emotional well-being. If we listened keenly to what every speaker has said today, it's very clear that connection is one of the most important things you need to have when you want to raise children or adolescents in this generation. I want us to do something. I want us to do something in 5 minutes. I want to believe we still have people here. In 5 minutes, or let's do 5 seconds. Think about one adult, right, in your childhood that made you feel safe. The person made you feel safe. The person made you feel heard. The person made you feel loved. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Think about it, right? In your childhood. So I'm taking you back to your childhood now. I'm not taking you to last year or 2 years ago. No, I'm taking you to your childhood from, say, 5 years old to maybe 10. Maybe we can just use that. Think about one person or two that made you feel safe, heard, loved. What did that do to you as a person? I would like to get response, please. I would like to get responses to this. What that connection, that person in your childhood that made you feel truly safe, right? Truly heard and truly loved. What did it mean to you? What did that connection mean to you? Okay. My dad, his love and trust for me really boosted my self-confidence. Thank you so much, Temitayo Awoyele. Sorry, I don't want to murder this name, but I must pronounce it. Awoyele. Correct me, please. Let me not kill somebody's name. Temitayo Awoyele. I want to know how to say that, please. Teach me. Who is there? Someone should teach me, please. I want to know how to pronounce that name. So she said, my dad, okay, please, ma, teach me how to pronounce the name.
You're right, ma. It's Awoyele. Awoyele.
And I wasn't right. So Awoyele.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Miss or Mrs. Temitayo Awoyele. We're all learning. Me, I have to learn something every time. All right. Okay. So she said her dad was one person in her childhood that made her build self-confidence. Thank you. We'll continue because of time. So you can see that connection she had with her dad meant a lot to her. I don't know how you have fared, or I don't know what has happened. I'm happy you say you have self-confidence. I don't know how that has helped you as you're growing up. I had people. The truth is, I, as a person, I kind of lacked people. It's not that I didn't feel loved. It's not that I didn't feel heard. But I think I kind of lacked people who really, who I could say I felt deeply connected to. Yes, my dad, my parents were there. I feel connected, but not as deeply as I would have loved it to be. So someone else just said, my mom made me feel loved. Thank you so much, Delight Teens Coaching. That's not your name, but anyway. So thank you so much for that. So we can see so many responses. I have asked these questions before now, and so many responses I got were one, some said it helped me through hard times. Some said it shaped my confidence, just like Temitayo just said, that her dad helped her, right? Some people also said they believed in me. So people believed in me. Okay, someone just said, my dad, because I was always taking first in my class, he treated me specifically or maybe specially, and made me believe I would be great in life. Mrs. Kure or Madam Kure, is it a man or a woman? Madam First, I'm loving this. So I'm loving this vibe. Which daddy will not be happy to for a child that comes first? Hey, wonderful. Congratulations for that. But I'm glad that that connection did something positive to you. Now, let me say something. Today's children and teenagers, they don't just need instructions. We like to dash it, do this, do that, don't do this, don't do that. The children we are raising in the 21st century, they do not just need instructions, they need connections. If you want to raise children the way you were raised, or some of us were raised, we will make so many mistakes because our parents, not all of us had that opportunity to have parents who were very, really intentional and were connected to us. So moving ahead, what do we understand by this connection? Because I've heard in fact, all the speakers today talked about connection. What is this connection really about? And how does it affect our mental health, our mental well-being, our social well-being? How does it affect us? So let's talk. I said deep connection is deep commitment to your relationship with your children and making the relationship more important than anything else. Connection is quite simple, very, very simple. It is that feeling, right? It is that feeling that you have with those special people in your life, like daddy, mommy. From the comments we've seen, my dad loves me. He made me he boosted my confidence. He helped me. He loved and trusted me, and all that. Very beautiful. The way they were treated and all. So this connection is that feeling that you have with those special people in your life. It could be your dad, it could be your mom, it could be your mentor, it could be your one person in church that you look up to, it could be your friend, that made you feel really, really safe. They made you feel safe. This connection, these people made you feel like you, and they loved you no matter what. So you could do anything and it's fine. They were not judgmental to you. So connection is made up of those moments when you laugh so hard together that it feels like nobody else is around. I love those moments in my life. I love, like, you just laugh so hard. You are so joyful, right? You are having fun with your friends or with people you are connected, and you laugh so hard as if nothing is happening, as if you have forgotten all the problems in the world, right? Beautiful. So when this moment when you can be upset and know that you won't be rejected, very important. How many of us can boast that our children can be upset and we won't reject them? Or we can be upset and our children won't reject us? These are excellent questions. So when you can, you can be upset and you won't be rejected, you won't be judged. So connection is when you feel heard, when you feel understood, most importantly, when you feel valued. Remember, we're talking about connection with our children. So you can imagine why this connection is so important, or why this conversation about connection is so important. So just imagine yourself, maybe let's use, we've talked about parenting. I'm going to be talking from the angle of parenting. I'm going to be talking from the angle of caregiving, and then for educators also. So imagine, as an educator, you have children in your class, and for every time, okay, let me share a story before I continue. There's a teacher I know, an educator I know, that works with a special needs child, right? Once she is not in that class, it's almost impossible for that child to achieve anything. it's almost impossible. That child is perpetually saying no, 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 no. But once this lady comes in, she doesn't need to say anything. She just needs to look. And Oga is following. Oga is sitting. He's writing. He's doing what he's supposed to do. Why do you think that is happening? Why do you think she's been able to get true to him? This boy has had so many shadows, so many people working with him that didn't spend more than a week or two, right? But this lady has spent months upon months with this child because she first of all built a real connection with the child. So when you want to correct teenagers or adolescents of this age, do not come from your high horse to do that. Find a common ground and build a connection with them. If you do not build rapport, you cannot get these teenagers. They will show you that, yes, it's their time. But once you are able to get connected to them, you're able to relate to them, they can be themselves around you. They can play around you, of course, guided. They can say anything and you're not judgmental. They can do anything and you hear it and they know that you will stand up for them. They know that you have their back. You are building a connection with this child and you easily be able to correct the child. So don't come from that place of I'm your teacher or I'm your mom or I'm your dad. No, you must come from that, come to their level to build a rapport to be able to have these conversations with them. So connections are important in mental stability because one, it helps to build security. Remember, I asked that question. How did those connections made you feel? Did they make you feel? Who is this person that made you feel safe? Who is the person that made you feel loved? Who is this person that made you feel? Do you understand? So connection builds security. A connected child feels safe emotionally. The child feels safe mentally and even spiritually. I think the first speaker talked a lot about the spiritual aspect of this conversation. So we won't go so much into that. So a child that is well connected to the caregiver, to the parents, to the teachers, to our educators, or school in general, or their friends, feels very safe, feels very, very emotionally stable and mentally stable. Remember, this is mental health. We are talking about mental health. So definitely, we will do everything possible to ensure that these children, these teenagers, or these adolescents feel emotionally safe with us. Now, their nervous system regulates through your own as a parent, or as a caregiver, or as a teacher. So the nervous system of a teenager regulates through your own. Very, very important. And this is very, very true, especially for young children and teens, because there's a way you would show how you feel and you would discourage that child. There's a way you will show your emotions. They will mirror your emotion. They will mirror how you feel. So always have that in mind, that child wants to feel safe around you. So their nervous system has to feel safe. Let me put it that way. The nervous system has to be regulated through yours, through your own feeling, through your own emotions. So it's very important for us to take note of that. Connection builds resilience. Remember, we have talked about resilience over and over and over and over again. And our last speaker, Dr. Thango, I call him Dr. Thango. Dr. Thango has spoken so much about resilience. So research shows that one consistent, caring adult can buffer a child from long-term effects of trauma or stress. Consistency. Remember that when you are building connection with children, it has to be consistent. One consistent caring person in a child's life can boost a child or can save a child from long-term effects of trauma or stress. Sometimes a child is going through trauma, you may not necessarily know, but because you have built connection with this child, you realize that the effects of that trauma will not hit the child so badly. So, for instance, a child that is at home and not feeling so loved comes to school to be loved. So as an educator, as a teacher, I tell teachers when I have sessions with them, I tell them, I say this a lot. A child who is loved or who is not loved at home comes to school to be loved. Okay, let me start from the beginning. A child who is loved at home comes to school to learn. But a child who is not loved at home comes to school to be loved. So if you like, be the best teacher in the world in mathematics, and you have not connected with that child who is going through traumatic stress, or who is going through one thing or the other, who is not feeling loved. So you want to come and start teaching maths. As long as that child doesn't feel loved in your class, you will lose the child. You will lose the attention of that child. So it's important as educators to pay attention to all the children. It's difficult, I know, I get it. It's not easy. You have 20 children, you have 30 children in your class, you have to pay attention. Please, that's part of the job. As much as you can afford to give, as much love as you can afford to give, please give love to the children that are around you, so that those children who are not loved at home can be loved first, so they can learn. Because no child can learn without feeling loved. No, it's not possible. It's very difficult for a child to really, really take in information without feeling so loved. So as we talk about it, it's not the absence of adversity that builds strength or resilience. It's the presence of safe, supportive relationships. It is not the absence of adversity that builds strength, right? It is the presence of safe, supportive relationships. So supportive relationships are very important in building resilience in children. Very important in the mental stability of children. Very important in building connection. So there may be adversity. So there will be adversity. So we have to begin early to train our children to understand that, yes, that's life. Oh, life is not fair. Oh, yeah, we get it. But you will go through it. There's adversity out there. How do you come out from it? That's what we talk about resilience. So the presence of safe, supportive relationship matters. So are you the supportive relationship of your child? Are you the safe space of your children? I always tell people that come around me, I grew up from the place of trauma and told myself that I will live my life, and the life I'm going to live is a life of creating safe spaces. And that's what has birthed the podcast. I just want to give you that opportunity to come and rant. I just stay sometimes and someone calls me and the person is ranting and ranting and ranting. I'm just listening. I call it listening service. We offer the listening service. It's okay. I'm not worried. Just speak. So I give people that opportunity to just speak their mind, say what they are going through, ease the stress. Because it's very, very important for us to start creating safe spaces so that even when people are dealing with adversity, dealing with struggles, or dealing with or struggling with issues, they will be able to build strength because they know that there are people around them. That's why you begin to have friends. I speak to children when I'm talking to them, teenagers. Your friends determines how far you go. You know that parents, after a while, your children don't need you for anything. At least when they are, I think, in their teenage, yeah. They want their friends. It's more of their friends. It's more of external factors now, not majorly what you say. I think the second speaker said that too. You understand? So if they have supportive friends out there, people, in fact, I've heard stories of children or teenagers or adolescents who eventually took their own life because of what their peers was saying to them. You can't tell me that you have friends who will never see anything good in you. They always tease you. They always, let me use in our own local parlance, yab you. Any little thing, you are so crazy. Any little thing, you are so stupid. And somehow it's good. That's pure abuse, but somehow, because you are so scared to lose the relationship, you sit down there. Let me go ahead. That's not why we're here today. Connection builds identity in children and adolescents, even in us as adults. It builds what? Identity. Children begin to understand their worth through the mirror of adult affirmation. I grew up in an environment where each time I remember those things that were said to these children, I will have heart palpitation. I'm Igbo. So a mother will tell the child, Nishu ge. I don't know if Igbos are here that can really interpret what I just or understand. You tell your child, Nishu ge, and as in that the face of the child will that the face of the child will smash on the floor because you are angry that the child was disobedient or the child misbehaved. I hope we understand that some of these things we call misbehavior in children is just attention they are looking for. They are seeking for attention, nothing else. They are looking for attention from us. But no, we are so busy. So you tell a child that, in fact, most of those people, really, their issue, they put them for ground. Sorry about the language, but I have to explain the way I'm feeling about it. They come out to the society, they are non-entities. They are a problem. Some of them armed robbers, some of them just a menace in the society. Why? Because we have parents who do not have positive things to say to their children. Am I saying that it's easy to parent? Oh, no, I'm not. So I'm a parent too. I have teenagers too. I have them. So I'm not telling you what I've not experienced. There are times when I decided, after some time, I realized that I was losing grip on my children. I was losing my children, especially my first child. I said, no, there must be a way to parent differently. So when I started doing courses on parenting, emotional intelligence courses and everything, there are times that my children will do something, I will go to my room and cry. Because if I tell you how I feel, if I say it the way I want to say it, generations to come, you will still remember that thing I said, and it will haunt you. So instead of me to do that, I'll rather just be quiet. I did it so many times because I was still trying to build that. I don't know. I was still building my emotional intelligence. So since I cannot, I will just go into my room and cry. When the heart has calmed down, I cannot come out and address the issue. But it's no longer like that. I don't have to go and cry. I will deal with it. And I will not feel bad. And I will not shout. I will not, all right. We know how to meet ourselves. You understand? So kids understand their worth. When you tell children you are loved, you're so beautiful, you are pretty, you are the princess or you are the prince, you are the best in your generation, you matter so much. I love you because I know you matter and I know. There are things you say to your children, they come out and they're like this. You see some children, you say they are so proud, they are so arrogant. That's because their confidence has been built at home. I'm not saying that some of them don't have skoy inside the matter. But some of these children you see, they have built themselves. Their parents have said positive things. Teachers have said, I've heard stories where children are, in fact, they still, when you remember your secondary school teacher or your primary school teacher say, hey, that man was a wicked man. He said this to me, That's why, in fact, till today I don't like maths. Or till tomorrow I don't like English because of the English teacher. That's how it is with parenting. Some of you, your children don't like you. I said I should just say that. Because of your own behavior. Because of what you say to them. And when the children are in their preteen and teen years, Self-esteem can fluctuate. So speaking positive affirmations to children, telling them, supporting them with your words is very important at this stage of their life. I am someone who lived with low self-esteem for more than 30 years. So when I tell you something about self-esteem, I am telling you from a place of experience. I understand how it feels to be on the ground because you decided to be there, or because someone has said something that puts you in your lowest. And trust me, it is magnified more during the teenage because of the hormonal changes and whatever is going on in the system. So at that point of adolescence is when you build a child's self-esteem. So when the self-esteem is trying to fluctuate, you are there to regulate it. You are there to help the child. You are there to teach the child coping mechanisms. One of my children was having severe anxiety issues some years ago. I had to become a therapist that moment when I have not even come this far in what I'm doing today. I had to look forward because I saw sweating. Everything was there. I had to find a way to calm him down. Just imagine if I now decided to say things that will hurt him so badly. I've ended up destroying something in him just because he was anxious about something. I think he had an exam or so. I can't remember the situation. He was so anxious. I had to calm him down. We did some breathing exercises. We did a lot of things at that time. So you as the parent, you as the teacher, some children come to your class. They come home. They come to your class. You notice if you notice that the child is behaving somehow. Let me put it that way. Look into it. That child that you feel that is always misbehaving, is always disrespectful. Have you ever bothered to look within, to check in with this child? What is going on with him? It could also be that child has gone through some traumatic experience in the house or in the environment that they've not been able to speak to somebody about. They've not been able to tell their parents about. And they're just looking. See, children, teenagers will look for attention, whether positively or negatively. They will rather look for that attention with negative behavior than not look for it at all. So if that negative behavior will bring that attention, then they will do it. So you see, they are very stubborn. Today this boy is so stubborn. Tomorrow this boy is so stubborn. At least you are talking about me now. There's an attack. Somehow, one day, maybe someday, somebody will look at this stubbornness and begin to say, why is this child like this? Maybe help can come. So connection supports your mental health or the mental health of the child. It reduces anxiety. Remember, I just said something about anxiety now. Imagine if I wasn't connected with that child at the time to know, okay, what's going on? Okay, how do we help? How do I help you? How do we come out of this? What can we do about this? So many questions. So connection with adolescents reduces anxiety, depression, and behavioral issues. So I said it before, that some of the behavioral issues you see today are just children that are looking for attention. So connected children are most likely or more likely to seek help, talk openly, and develop healthy coping skills. So when you're connected with your child, or when this child is connected with somebody, it could be a mentor. It doesn't necessarily have to be you. You could link the child to a healthy mentor that can help that child that moment. But once the child feels connected to somebody or something, they are more likely to seek help, to cry out, I'm dealing with this. How do you understand? They will want to ask you for help. You see, some people today, even as adults, cannot ask for help. For a very long time, I couldn't ask. No matter what, I'll swallow it. I'll be all right. I'll be fine. Are you okay? I'm very fine. I'm okay. I'm dying there. But I had to come out of that eventually. So connected children are more likely to talk openly. And they tell them, you're talkative. You talk too much. Can you just keep quiet? And please, when a child talks, listen. Listen, don't shut children down. Do not shut children down. If you want to build connection with this generation of teenagers, children and teenagers, you must learn to allow them speak. You see that mentality of those days, leave, just drop it there. Drop it there. Allow these ones to speak. Guide them, quite all right, but allow them to speak. That way, it will help them to develop healthy coping skills. So instead of going to now look for unhealthy coping skills like doing drugs and all that, they can speak to somebody. They can talk to you. They know that you are available. They know that you are listening to them. You can hear what they are saying. Now, let's talk about what disconnection is about. We've talked about connection. Let's talk about what this disconnection maybe looks like. So many children are silently struggling with this whole connection thing. And before you know it, the signs of disconnection begins to show. The signs of disconnection: withdrawal, emotional shutdown, aggressive behavior, constant irritability, obsession with screen. This child, he likes to watch. In fact, he's always on his phone. He's always watching TV. He's what they want to escape because they just want to disconnect from the toxic environment. Right? So when you begin to see that, just know that, okay, it's like I need to work on my connection with these children. I need to work on my connection. It means that if I'm not connected, I'm disconnected. So that disconnection is now showing by this withdrawal. They shut down emotionally. We were talking yesterday in one session I was having with some women, and they were talking about this shutdown. You realize that you're talking to a child, or you're talking to a teenager. The teenager is looking at you straight in your eyes. But darling, that teenager is not there. He has gone far. That is, he has shut down. Especially when you come, some of us parents, we like to preach a lot. Just one small mistake that someone has made. 1 hour, we're still talking. We are not allowing them to face the consequence. But we're talking. You shouldn't be. Why you? Why? You must be. Why did you? How did you? Where did you? This one. Once you start, or some of us don't preach, is shouting. You see that yelling? PhD. Before they go, as an adult, if the moment you raise your voice at me, I shut down. It's a coping mechanism for me. And I believe that these children just shut down to cope. So you're just talking, they're not there. They're not there. They may not even be hearing you anymore. They've gone. They're gone. And you're talking and shouting. They shut down emotionally. Some of them eventually, like I said, they become aggressive. They become obsessed with screens. They now become perfectionists. This part. I'm still working on my own till now. You see this overachievement and perfectionism. Anyway, that's a topic for another day. Disconnection. That is a sign of it. Refusing to talk. Hiding in their rooms. Before you know, they begin to change their sleeping pattern. It begins to affect their sleeping pattern. It begins to affect their appetite. So they begin to deal with so much at the same time. Like I said before, sometimes what we call bad behavior is just a cry for connection. What we as parents, as teenagers, as parents, as caregivers, as educators, what we scream for and say is bad behavior, disobedient, disrespectful, it is just a cry for connection. But how do we know that is a cry for connection when we are not even ready to connect? So how do you begin to create this connection as we move on? You don't have to do more. You just have to be more present. I'll say that again. You do not have to do more. You just have to be more present. Present is not you fiddling when they're talking to you. Because you tell me present, I'm always there. I'm always around my children. I know I hang out with them a lot. I discuss there. No, we are always, we flow. Are you sure? Because sometimes you feel that you are there with them. They should talk to you, but they're talking to you. You are not listening. And as parents, it's important for us to begin to learn listening skills. You know, some of us listen to just react. We don't listen beyond what they're saying. When I'm listening to someone, I try to listen to what is not said. What you have not said is what I'm trying to get. So I'm paying attention to the point that you will say that thing I want to hear. Right? So you don't have to do more. You just have to be more present. Be more available to them. It's not about buying present for them. Be present yourself. So for parents and caregivers, I could say you should create consistent rituals. Oh, that builds it a lot. Create consistent rituals. It could be every day or every other day we'll have meals together, maybe dinner. And while we have that dinner, we could have meal chats. So we chat while we are gisting while we are eating. Of course, we don't want to, they say, what's that thing called again? Table manners and all that. Yeah, but we guide it. At some particular, we can talk while I don't know about you, but I talk when I'm eating. After all, I receive phone calls when I'm eating. So why can't I have that meal chat? How is the meal? Or how was the food? What did you enjoy? Discuss. Before you know, conversation starts coming up. You can also, we don't like to talk while we eat. We like to respect the meal, the etiquette. Hey, I've been looking for that word. Etiquette. It's okay, no problem. We got you. Leave food. Create bedtime talk. Create a routine around bedtime. So before bedtime, you must chat. Even if and this thing is not 1 hour, even if it's 5 minutes. Even if it's just 5 minutes, it could be that you give the person a hug, you give the person a kiss. You tell, for younger children, you tell them stories. This older children, we have this. I'm not sure they used to enjoy stories. I don't know about your own, but my own. We just not about come and reading bedtime story. They are not even interested in that. So create that bedtime. It could be anything. It could be talk about the day. It could be talk about your own day. It could be you sharing something about your life that they could learn from. You can create game nights. So sometimes maybe it's weekend. You say, you know what, we're going to have game nights today. So we play games. It could be what? It could be chess. It could be anything. So another one is we should be emotionally available. You see those little small problems, don't miss it. Don't dismiss it, sorry. Don't dismiss it. Don't say, it's okay now, you'll be all right now. I know that there's tendency for us to say we want them to build resilience, No. If you want to build trust in teenagers or in adolescents, you must have to take time to look at those little problems, those little challenges that they are going through. Very important. Use affirming words. I said that before. Use affirming words. I think it was the second speaker that talked about praising their efforts, not just the results. Notice and name it, say it. Say it is good. Nothing will happen to you. And I'm saying this now, most especially to our daddies. Respect, sirs. Please, say it. Want to hear it from you, sir. Thank you. Name it. You're doing well. I can see that you're trying. I can see that you're attempting. I can say, let them see. It will help them. It will create that connection. Before you know, they open up about the challenges. Very, very important. Ask open-ended questions. Ask open-ended questions. How did that make you feel? Maybe something has just happened. Ask them. Don't just ask, how are you? Fine. Anyway, I don't even do that how are you fine thing. I don't like it. How was your day today in school? Fine. We must talk about it. What was the most important? What was that? What was the most enjoyable part of the day for you? What was this? What was that? Ask questions. What was your favorite thing about today? What was that thing that happened today that you really enjoyed? What was the thing that happened that you were sad about? Now, another very important one for parents, because we don't have all the time to say everything we need. Apologize when you are wrong. Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, it's not bad. You see this one? I don't think any of my parents ever apologized to me openly to say their own apology. They come and buy biscuit and give you. Take. Don't do it again. No. Auntie, uncle, please apologize when you are wrong, because you know when you are wrong. If you do this, it models humility and emotional safety. Apologize. 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 It's very important. You know that sometimes we accuse our children. Maybe something went wrong in the house or somewhere, and there's one that is known for that behavior amongst your children. You say, it must be you. So even when they ask, he said, forget. I know it is you. You did it. I know you did it. Like, but I didn't. It's not me. And you investigate and find out that the child didn't, or the teenager didn't do that. Please say you're sorry. It will help them to learn to say sorry. It will show that you are a humble person, because you can't be teaching humility and you are not modeling it. It's very important. As we go on, for educators, our teachers, you can connect with your teenagers or children simply by greeting them by their name. Hello, Esther. How are you doing this morning? Hello, Abiodun. How was your night? It's simple. It creates a sense of belonging. That child will feel, the child will feel so amongst, the child will feel that, okay, yes, I'm part of this class. My teacher has noticed me. So even when they are dealing with something, they know that my teacher can see me. She has seen me, or he has seen me, or he is seeing me. He's looking at me. He's paying attention to me. Create calm, safe classrooms. Create calm, safe class. You see, these safe spaces, very important. Can we just please, as teachers, I don't know if there's something they swore in teaching school, that you must use shaming words. Please, can you reduce or totally eliminate shaming words or shaming? Something happened some years ago, and a teacher told my child, you're not even ashamed of yourself. And the boy was crying, and he looked at himself. He didn't pull on himself. He didn't do anything that would warrant somebody to talk about shame in the water. I went there. I went because I needed her to tell me what is so bad in somebody protecting his stuff. His laptop was taken to him and taken upstairs, and then he went to collect it, and he would take permission to go, and the teacher refused him to, said he shouldn't leave the class. And he came back and he wasn't happy. He was crying about it because it was my laptop. He took it to school, and you must protect it because you will not go again with it next time. So once in a while, he will go and check and be sure that the laptop is good. And then the teacher say, and then he wasn't allowed. He's a very emotional person. He was crying. And you come to the child and say, you are not ashamed of yourself. Please, what is there to be ashamed of? He cried because you did not allow him. He was emotional about it. Okay, please, where does shame come in? So as educators, we need to be very careful to reduce shame and harsh discipline. And harsh, very, very, very important. Notice changes as educators. Notice those little changes. You might be the first to detect a mental distress. because the children spend more time with you, except during the holidays. They spend more time with you. So that little thing you can detect, that little thing you can notice, can detect a mental illness that is trying to spring up. The last one I'm going to say for educators for now is partner with parents. Healing will happen faster when both worlds, the home, the school, align. If only the teachers are doing their own, it's difficult. If only parents know, when they come together to raise a child, it will work. Now, let me talk about faith, just a little bit of faith. Since the other woman, the first speaker, had spoken about it, I said, we should connect with God or a spiritual community. Auntie Tony said it's collabo, very serious collabo. School and home, they must collabo, otherwise it will not work. Very, very, very important. Thank you for pointing that out. It's collabo. Thank you. So for faith-based families, connection to God and a spiritual community reinforces stability. If it's church, please be very, very committed there. Carry them along. Have a relationship with God. Build a relationship with God so that your children can follow you and can join you and begin to create their own. Like, I think it was Mrs. Tega that said something about values. When you have your value system as a family, you definitely, before you have a value system as a family, you must have your own personal values. So you have your own personal values, your husband or your spouse will have their own, then you have a family value system, then the children begin to build their own value system from your own, your husband or your spouse's own, and the family own. So not all your children may not align with all your values. Please accept this and know peace. Know it and know peace. Let's continue. So for faith-based, I said mentorship in church groups, maybe it can help things to be grounded. Mentorship in the church, when they have, maybe teens fellowship, one group or the other that they are participating in, it can help. Because we can't always be there, but God places communities and safe people around us and our children, because we may not always be there. All right. Now let me just say something about a child that I counseled. Each time they will come, today he did this one, tomorrow he did this one, next tomorrow he did the other one. So I decided, they brought him to me, but I counseled him because he kept getting suspended for fighting, right? Every time he is suspended for fighting. Of course, trust us now, teachers called him aggressive. The school called him aggressive. His mom said he was a disrespectful child. But when we had time alone, when we finally had time alone, the young man and myself, he said, you know what he said to me? He said, no one ever listens to me. I just want someone to notice when I'm not okay. So we must fight. I said it before. Instead of that child not to get attention, they will fight. They will shout. They will go just pass another child and come and move. At least when that child is screaming, my head, who did it? Is this person? At least they've someone has noticed me. That's good. So when all this suspension and everything they were calling, all the names they were calling him and everything they were doing, he didn't need that. He just needed deeper connection. He just needed one person that could connect with him. One person that could connect with him. So what can we begin to do? What can we begin to do? Check in regularly. Check in regularly. What can we begin to do? Check in. That child, check in. Do you know that 5 intentional minutes in a day can change everything. Just 5. 5 intentional minutes a day can change everything with that connection with that child. Please choose presence over perfection. Please. Please, this one I'm begging. You don't have to always say the right thing. Just shall be there. Shall be available for them to talk to. Just be there. Right? Just, you don't have to be. I know some of you have listened now. You're like, I've been a bad mom. Oh, I've been a bad parent. No, lie. It's not true. It's not true. It's not true. Just change one thing. You realize that, wow. I just had to change this. Choose presence over perfection. Sometimes you don't even have to say anything at that point. Just be there for them to pour their hearts to. Be there for them to talk to. Be available. Availability is very important. Another important thing we need to begin to do is to ask for help. Ask for help. Go engage counselors, engage mentors, engage safe adults to help our children. It's not a bad thing. When you pray, as you are praying for the situation, pray very hard and speak to counselors very hard. Engage counselors, engage mentors. Auntie Toyin is here. Call her on the phone, reach out to her. She knows what to do. She knows who to talk to. She knows how to create that safe space for you. Engage them. Get mentors for your children. Let people be there who mentor them. Safe adults who can mentor them. Very important. In fact, I cannot overemphasize this one. Build safe spaces. Whether at home, whether in school. Please learn, decide to build safe spaces for your family. It's very important. It's very, very important. So be the one they can always come back to without fear. You see this one. Be that person they can run back to without fear. I'm not saying that, okay, a child can just misbehave and come and, be cocky about it. No. I've told my children, no matter what you have done, first of all, your school should not tell me what happened first. No, that one is the first crime. Except they called me while you were in school. But I'm at home and I receive a call from school that something had happened and you did this and you were not the first person to tell me. No, that's the first offense. What you have done in school is just, we'll deal with that. But the fact that you didn't come to me, because I'm trying my best to create that safe space where you can come back to talk to me without fear. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to be a safe landing. Just be the safe landing for your children. So every child is one safe, steady relationship away from healing and thriving. Let me say that again. That's my closing quote. Every child is one safe, steady relationship away from healing and thriving, with you being there. With connection, with your connection with that child, with your connection with that teenager. That child is a safe. I'm going to say the quote again. Every child, every adolescent, every teacher is one safe, steady relationship away from healing and thriving. So with this, I have come to the end of my session. Do we have questions? Questions?
All right. Thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. And I'm sure everyone is living here today knowing that every child is just one steady relationship away from healing, and that the greatest hack of connection is your presence. It's not about the money, it's not about the gift. Is you actually being there for them, hearing them out, listening to them. Active presence. That's the greatest hack. to connection. Thank you so much, Ma. We're so grateful. Thank you. And we love all the examples you gave. One would think that when the children are getting older, it gets easier. But with all the examples you're giving, wow. Thank you so, so much. Thank you. All right.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Do we have any question for Mrs. Eunice? Otherwise known as Auntie AJ. Although I won't want to call her that because I want to sit at your feet and learn how it is, how to raise grown-up children. And you really did justice to that topic. That we really have to build safe spaces for our children. And I love the fact that you said we should avoid open-ended questions, because sometimes when they start talking, they won't keep quiet. So as a parent, you just want to say, how are you? You're fine. Okay, how is everything? Fine. And then you just hand it like that. But when you allow them talk, you actually hear the things that they are not saying. Like you mentioned, you hear those things they are not saying, and they feel at peace with you. They feel at rest with you. Thank you so much. Thank you so, so much. And I really pray that we as parents can actually get to that safe space to become still safe spaces, for our children. And I also love the fact that he said, no matter what happens to you outside, please know that there's somebody at home who has got your back. Because sometimes I hear people say, I'm so scared. I don't know what to tell my mother. I don't know what to tell my father. Your mother and your father should be the first call, right?
Yeah.
And you also telling them, I don't want to hear this first from school. I want to hear it from you. It shows a lot of effect that you have on them as their mother, that they would run home when something is happening outside. That was so good. And I love the fact that you also said that we also need to check regularly with them. And most importantly, we need to be committed, or we need to commit them, most especially with their relationship with God. So the lighting coaching says, she said, there's a powerful message on connection. Yeah, there's a powerful message on connection and how to connect with the children and how they can better connect with us. Thank you so much. Thank you so, so much. All right. So do we have any question? If you have any question, please drop it in the chat box so I can read it out. Wow, people are really saying thank you to you, and they're saying that you're actually the mother of nations. She's the mother of nations. Wow, yes, I agree. I agree with that. So people are saying thank you so much, Ma. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Okay, so do we have any question? And they're also saying this is such a powerful session. There's such a powerful session, and they have a lot to think about even after leaving this session today. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And
Thank you.
I also love when you were given the signs of disconnection, saying things like they lock themselves up in the room. Some people might be like, oh, my child is an introvert. They just want to be by themselves. But you don't know that that's actually a sign of disconnection. They get cranky and so many other things. So these things, I have actually noted them, and I'll look out for them, not just in my children, but in every other teenager or adolescent I come across. So thank you for pointing all this out. Thank you so much. Okay, I still have a lot of thank you, thank you, thank you. And they said they love your energy. And I do really love your energy, especially when you were trying to pronounce my name. Oh my God, that was such a teachable moment for me, because I was like, she really wanted to get it right. And then when you now said, you're still trying to heal from perfectionism, I said, okay. You just want to get it perfectly. You want to get it. And I love it. I mean, for someone who is more matured in age like you, and you still want to get things right, it's such a thing to emulate for those of us coming behind you. So I really love that, Ma. Thank you so much. Okay, so do we have any question for her before she leaves today? Any question at all? Everyone is just appreciating you, Mom. Yeah, so let me welcome Mrs. Oluwatoyin Ogunkomi. You have the floor, Ma.
Thank you so much, Auntie EJ. Thank you. I really appreciate you being here and you teaching so much. I love the examples you gave. I know you gave us practical examples. You used your children, you used yourself, you used your family, and it's just to show that you're actually walking the talk. So thank you so much. Our humble moderator, thank you too for being here, for moderating the session. And your session is actually the last session for the virtual session. And we're going to continue tomorrow at the physical session at House on the Rock. So for those of you who are here in Abuja, We need you to come. Please show up. The venue is the Rock Event Center of the House on the Rock Church in Abuja near the city gate. It's not far from the National Stadium. And we went there to look at the place today. They've arranged the place, and they're just ready for us to be there. So we're expecting everyone. If you're online and you're staying in Abuja, please come. And for those who are not in Abuja, we might be live streaming, and we're still arranging that. We might be live streaming. So for those who are not in Abuja, you will watch the live stream. We'll get the link and we'll do live streaming. So thank you so much, Auntie EJ. God bless you. Regards to the family. Seems like we don't have any question here. Somebody is thanking me too for organizing it. So we have Mr. Kunle here. He says, so I think you can read that. Auntie EJ, thank you so much. Let me take you out of thank you so much. Yeah.
All right. So Mr. Kunle Olatubosun is saying, thank you for the insights to be intentional parents. And this just reminded me of what everybody was saying yesterday, that I just want to be a better parent. I want to be enlightened. I want to be, I want to be impacted. And I'm sure at the end of this 2-day session, this virtual session, for those people who dropped those comments yesterday, I'm sure you've been enlightened. I'm sure you've learned something. I'm sure you've been impacted. Yeah, the session was so impactful. We learned a lot. Our notes are full. I mean, now we know that in as much as we want our children to excel academically, resilience is something we must start building in them. The grit, the doggedness. So thank you for everyone. Thank you to Ms. Oluwatoyin for organizing this summit. Thank you for your selfless contribution to the parenting sector. Thank you so much. We're so grateful. Thank you to everyone who had been commenting since yesterday. Those who dropped their comments, their questions. We're so grateful. And to everybody who has spoken on the platform, all our speakers, thank you very much. Thank you for giving of yourself. We're so grateful. Thank you so much. And thank you so much, ma'am, for having me. It's such an honor to be here. It's been 2 years. I was here last year and I'm here this year. And I look forward to the next year's session. Thank you so much.
Grace. So I guess next year we're going to have some more speakers. It might actually be like a week event, hopefully. Hopefully, it might be a week. Maybe it might run for a week. But the plan now is that parents, we don't want you just to listen. We want you to go and implement. Now, one of the things we have coming up in a few weeks, we have 2 programs coming up. One for adolescents. It's called the Thriving Adolescent Hub. Here, it's a hub where we work with adolescents in building their mental capacity in terms of mental resilience and emotional strength. That's the first. Then the second is for parents. We have a 12 weeks program coming up for parents starting December 1st. It's tagged the Smart Parenting Coaching Program. Here we're going to work with parents for 12 weeks and how they can build resilience in their children, how they themselves will be mentally stable, emotionally stable, so that they can pour this into their children. The flyers will be coming out on our website and also our social media page from next week after this conference, after the summit. It will be coming up. So we just want to say thank you to everyone. Thank you, Ms. Temitayo. It's always a great honor having you here. And knowing the fact that you're always available, that each time we call you, you're always here. Just want to say thank you. Okay, so I say thank you for being a global parenting coach. Oh, thank you so much, Daily Decord. Thank you so much. Okay, so we'll be ending our virtual session now. However, our physical session starts tomorrow by 10 a.m. at the Rock Event Center. Thank you and good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.